Chapter 48. Taoist rhymes filled the air as a sharp golden sword qi rushed towards Lan Yu. That attack had the power of a perfected nascent soul realm cultivator. Lan Yu was an early-stage nascent soul realm cultivator when she was first summoned, but she was now a late-stage nascent soul realm cultivator. With the help of her supreme Taoist physique, even a paradise realm cultivator would not be able to gain the upper hand. She shattered the sword qi with a single punch. Feng An was surprised, but his eyes were filled with battle intent as he said coldly, "All right, looks like I've underestimated you. I'll defeat you first, then your master. You won't get the chance." Lan Yu summoned her scepter of light without hesitation. With the sacred weapon's help, her aura skyrocketed once again. With a single punch, the majestic light poise exploded. Even a sky pride like Feng Tian was blasted back a few feet. Many cultivators around were shocked. This lady is so powerful that she can suppress Feng Tian? Feng Tian is a paradise realm cultivator. Even the royal Azure Dynasty crown prince Gu Chang'e might not be able to suppress him, but this lady can do it. Who is she? Since when did the winged human tribe have such a sky pride? She's even willing to be Chu Kuangren's follower. This is unbelievable. Everyone was shocked by Lan Yu's strength, but they were even more curious about Chu Kuangren. If a follower could be so powerful, what about Chu Kuangren himself? 5 elements, fire elemental technique. Feng Tian formed a mysterious hand sign as Taoist rhymes circulated around his body. Crimson-red flames surged out. Lan Yu did not dodge. Instead, she threw a punch and the light poise shattered the flames. Her Valkyrie appearance shocked everyone. 5 elements, Yi-wood art. Feng Tian's expression became more serious as his Taoist rhymes became denser. The spiritual power within his body circulated as he unleashed his full power. Around Lan Yu, countless vines formed from spiritual energy suddenly appeared and wrapped around her in an instant. 5 elements, aged gold art. Feng Tian took this opportunity to use the 5 elements ultimate technique again, and several sharp sword qi slashed out. Lan Yu snorted as the spiritual power within her body erupted. She flapped her white wings and countless spiritual qi blades spun, cutting off the vines that were wrapped around her. Then she threw a punch. The light fist shattered all the sword qi. "You want to challenge my master with just this? You must be dreaming." Lan Yu sneered. Lan Yu's words enraged Feng Tian. "A mere servant girl dares to be so arrogant. I'll show you what the 5 elements are." Taoist rhymes circulated around Feng Tian's body, and an extremely terrifying aura leaked out. His body gradually shone with 5 colors: metal, wood, water, fire, earth. 5 types of light flickered in Feng Tian's palm, forming a vast and boundless power. This power even shook the space. Sage technique, 5 elements capture. Feng Tian clawed out fiercely with his palm and 5 types of light converged to form a huge colorful hand. This attack was a sage technique. It was extremely terrifying. Even insightful emptiness realm cultivators would be easily defeated. There was a serious look in Lan Yu's eyes. Next, a beam of white light shot up into the sky from her body as she spread her wings. A vast aura of the Great Path emanated from her. Runes of the Great Path flashed back and forth around her, making her look incomparably holy. Seeing this, the crowd could not help but be shocked. They felt a sense of worship towards Lan Yu. The pupils of some experts constricted in disbelief. This is a Taoist physique transformation. Boundless radiance. The legendary supreme Taoist physique, the Holy Radiant Physique. She also has a supreme Taoist physique. The experts who recognized the Holy Radiant Physique were shocked. Such a physique had not appeared for many years. Similar to Chu Kuangren's exquisite 9 orifices sword heart, they were both supreme Taoist physiques that had the terrifying potential to break through to the Emperor realm. With the help of the Boundless Radiance transformation, Lan Yu activated her scepter of light and formed a long spear in front of her. There were runes circulating on the spear, and a terrifying light-based Taoist rhyme was condensed within it. Boom! The long spear pierced through the air, and a loud explosion reverberated through the void. This attack was extremely powerful. When it collided with the five-colored palm, the shockwaves from the explosion of the two energies crazily slammed into the void, and the surrounding buildings began to shake. Lan Yu stood on the spot, surrounded by the flowing light, looking extremely holy. Opposite her, Feng Tian's expression was gloomy. He did not expect his strongest attack to not be able to defeat Lan Yu. How could he fight Chu Kuangren if he could not even defeat a servant girl? At that thought, Feng Tian held his breath. Who allowed you to fight in private under the emperor's jurisdiction? At that moment, a majestic female voice came from the sky. A carriage pulled by 6 divine chariots soared through the sky, and a terrifying aura descended. The surrounding cultivators quickly knelt down. Greetings, Princess Linglong. Only Taoists from sage orthodoxies like Chu Kuangren and Feng Tian were allowed to stand. Their status was equal to Princess Linglong's. Princess Linglong has appeared. I didn't expect to see her so soon. I wonder if she's as beautiful as the rumors say. The Sky Prides exchanged glances. Feng Tian and Lan Yu also stopped fighting. Everyone here is an outstanding talent of this generation. How can you fight in public? Princess Linglong questioned again. You're right, Prince. Lin Batian, Huayun, and the others replied. This was the Royal Azure Dynasty's territory, and the person in front of them was the princess who was going to fight for her hand in marriage. All right, since everyone here is new and doesn't know the rules of the capital city, I'll let this matter rest. Tonight, I'll host a banquet at the Thousand Island Lake and invite all the Sky Prides here. I hope everyone will do me the honor, Princess Linglong said. We'll definitely attend the princess's invitation. The few Sky Prides laughed. Elder senior brother of the Black Heaven sect, I'll be waiting for you at the Thousand Island Lake. At that moment, Princess Linglong said again. Chu Kuangren was stunned. Why did she mention me? Are we close? As soon as Princess Linglong finished speaking, everyone's gaze turned to Chu Kuangren. They were filled with jealousy and hatred. Especially Feng Tian, he looked like he was going to eat someone alive. There are so many Sky Prides here, but Princess Linglong only mentioned Chu Kuangren. What does that mean? It means that Chu Kuangren is special in Princess Linglong's heart. Unknowingly, Chu Kuangren had taken the lead in this marriage contest. Some people were stunned. Princess, you can't hurt us like that. You're messing with our mentality. Princess, he's Chu Kuangren. He's the one who injured the Royal Azure Dynasty's crown prince. Someone beside her reminded. Yes, I know. Princess Linglong said calmly. Didn't you say that you'll show no mercy to him if you see him? Someone remembered what the other Sky Prides had said. Princess Linglong was among them. I remember, but I didn't expect Elder Senior Brother Black Heaven to be so handsome. Princess Linglong paused for a moment, looking a little shy. The crowd was devastated again. I didn't expect you to be like this, Princess Linglong. F***CK, so what if you're good-looking? The crowd looked at Chu Kuangren, some of them gritting their teeth in anger. The marriage contest had not started yet, but everyone felt like they had already lost. Chapter 49. Princess Linglong left, leaving behind a group of devastated Sky Prides. Feng Tian stared at Chu Kuangren and said, I'll defeat you in the martial arts competition to prove to the princess that I'm stronger than you. Me too, Lin Batian said coldly. Some of the Sky Prides threatened him. Some of the Sky Prides gave Chu Kuangren a meaningful look. When most of the people had left, Xianxia walked up and looked at Chu Kuangren in admiration. Brother Chu, you really are amazing. Even Princess Linglong can't resist your charm. Chu Kuangren stood there and rubbed his chin. Brother Li, I seriously suspect that Princess Linglong is trying to trick me. How can that be? If I were a girl, I would definitely like you too, Xianxia said. Forget it, let's find a place to stay first. The three of them found a luxurious inn to stay in. When night fell, Xianxia dragged Chu Kuangren to the Thousand Island Lake for the banquet. The Thousand Island Lake, as the name suggested, was a lake with many islands. It was extremely vast, hence the name. The scenery of the lake was beautiful, and the place where Princess Linglong held the banquet was the centermost island of the lake. Inside a palace, many Sky Prides gathered, including some from sage orthodoxies such as Fang Tian and Lin Badian. When Chu Kuangren brought Lan Yu and Li Xingchen in, everyone's gaze was on them. Some were curious, some were hostile. Chu Kuangren had long gotten used to the feeling of being the center of attention. He calmly found a place to sit. Let them look, it's not like I'll lose anything anyway. Besides, I'm so handsome, it's a waste not to show them. The princess has arrived. At that moment, a voice came from outside. A woman in a gorgeous robe slowly walked in. The woman's eyebrows were like distant mountains, and her lips were like red pills. She was dressed in a gorgeous robe, and her figure was graceful. She had a noble temperament, and her face was incomparably beautiful. It was a kind of beauty that was superior, just like a queen. Everyone subconsciously looked at Lan Yu, who was beside Chu Kuangren. These two women were the most beautiful in the world. One was cold, sacred, and inviolable. The other was incomparably beautiful and unapproachable. If Lan Yu was the snow lotus that grew on the precipice, then Princess Linglong would be the delicate and wealthy peony. Each had their own merits. Greetings, Princess Linglong. Princess Linglong is indeed as beautiful as the rumors say. Being able to see the princess today makes this trip worthwhile. The prodigies stood up to welcome him. Chu Kuangren, on the other hand, sat calmly on the spot. He glanced at Princess Linglong, then at Lan Yu. My Lan Yu is still the prettiest. Upon hearing Chu Kuangren's words, Lan Yu was overjoyed. An irrepressible smile appeared on her face, making her look even more charming. Oh, is her name Lan Yu? Princess Linglong seemed to have heard Chu Kuangren's words. Lan Yu greets the princess. Lan Yu cupped his hands in greeting. You're welcome. Princess Linglong then looked at Chu Kuangren with a bright smile on her face. I'm very happy that Brother Chu is here. The prodigies gritted their teeth in anger. Damn, it's like this again. The princess only had eyes for Chu Kuangren. You're too kind, princess. The more Chu Kuangren thought about it, the more he felt that Princess Linglong was trying to set him up. What kind of princess would be so unreserved? The banquet began. The group of prodigies was sizing each other up. They all knew that everyone present was their opponent. Of course, they had to take this opportunity to observe them. Especially Chu Kuangren, who was the most scrutinized. Rumor has it that Brother Chu once used the primordial purple haze to kill Honorable Swordsman White Cloud and destroy the entire White Cloud City Hall. Your skills are truly admirable, one of the prodigies said. As soon as he said that, everyone looked at him strangely. At first glance, it sounded like he was praising Chu Kuangren. However, that was not the case. The emphasis on the word used was to imply that Chu Kuangren did not rely on his own cultivation base to kill an honorable supreme. Instead, he relied on external items, so it did not count. Destroying the entire White Cloud City Hall was a subtle insult to Chu Kuangren for being ruthless and merciless. He did not even spare the elderly, the young, the women, and the children. You sure know how to talk, huh? Chu Kuangren chuckled. Then he looked at the prodigy. He knew who he was. It was Huayun of the Sacred Lands of Serene Wisdom who battled the Jiang Valley Sky Pride on the street today. When I killed Honorable Swordsman White Cloud, it took me 2 strikes. How many strikes do you think it will take for me to kill you? Chu Kuangren said coldly. As soon as he said that, the atmosphere suddenly became tense. Huayun's expression changed. Brother Chu, what do you mean? I have no grudge against you. Why are you threatening me in public? Can't answer? Why don't you try? Chu Kuangren smiled and slowly stood up. This action of his caused the hearts of everyone present to tremble. F***ck me. Was he really planning to kill someone at the princess banquet? Huayun's pupils shrunk and his heart was pounding. Being stared at by Chu Kuangren, he felt like a poisonous snake was coiling around his neck. Ha! The famous Chu Kuangren is indeed impressive. At that moment, a loud laugh came from outside the palace. A man dressed in a yellow robe walked in. Third brother. Princess Linglong greeted him when she saw him. Greetings, royal sister. The man was the royal Azure dynasty's 3rd prince. His name was Gu Changfeng. Gu Changfeng looked at Chu Kuangren and said, I've long heard of Brother Chu's powerful cultivation base. I wonder if I have the honor of learning from you. Your Highness, would you like to try? All right. Chu Kuangren nodded and agreed. When they arrived at the empty space outside the palace, Gu Changfeng got into a stance and his Taoist rhymes circulated. He said, "My royal brother was defeated by you. As his younger brother, I have to do something. Take this." As soon as he said that, a golden-colored dragon chi soared into the air and the roar of a dragon echoed in the air. A punch was unleashed. It was the sage technique, Dragon Slaughter Fist. Chu Kuangren's face was emotionless as he slashed out with the Descendant Self sword in his hand. The purple sword ray instantly lit up the night sky. That sword ray was even more dazzling than the starry sky. As the sword ray flashed past, the dragon-shaped fist chi instantly dissipated. However, the horrifying sword ray did not stop at all as it headed straight towards Gu Changfeng. How is this possible? Gu Changfeng's pupils shrank and his expression changed. Seeing that the sword ray was getting closer and closer, Gu Changfeng was powerless to defend himself. He could not even dodge it. Fear was written all over his face. At that moment, a figure appeared in front of him. With a palm attack, a terrifying surge of spiritual power collided with the sword ray. A violent shockwave swept in all directions, causing the entire island to shake and the lake to tumble. It's Princess Linglong. I can't believe the princess has such a powerful cultivation base. Everyone was extremely shocked. Not only were they shocked by Chu Kuangren's sword attack, but they were also shocked by Princess Linglong's cultivation base. They were momentarily stunned. I can't believe he's so strong. Fang Tian, who had planned to challenge Chu Kuangren today, turned pale when he saw Chu Kuangren's sword attack. His Taoist core was shaken. He knew that he would not be able to withstand that attack. Not only him, but Huayan was also so scared that his legs were trembling. He could not believe that he had just challenged such a terrifying character. He now suspected that if Gu Changfeng had come a little later, he would have died here. Chapter 50. The Crown Prince of the Royal Azure Dynasty, Gu Changge, can take one sword attack from me, but you can't even take half a sword attack from me. No, that's not right either. Perhaps Gu Changge can't even take half a sword attack from me either. Chu Kuangren said arrogantly. When he defeated Gu Changge, he had just broken through to the nascent soul realm. Now that he was at the peak stage of the nascent soul realm, it would be even easier for him to defeat Gu Changge. Gu Changfeng's face turned pale. He wanted to refute, but he had no way to do so. If not for Princess Linglong's sudden intervention, he would not have been able to withstand the blow. The rest of the Heaven's favorites did not look too good either. It was true that Gu Changge had defeated 6 great sage orthodoxies in a row, but Gu Changge was not even worth mentioning in front of Chu Kuangren. What about them? Some of them were even inferior to Gu Changge. In front of Chu Kuangren, it was even more insignificant. This was a world of great competition. It was supposed to be a glorious battle between geniuses from all over the world. However, why did they feel like it was Chu Kuangren's stage? How could such a character appear in this epic? What's the point of having geniuses in this world then? One of the geniuses said in dissatisfaction. It was obvious that Chu Kuangren had left a huge impact on the crowd. Everyone, I have neglected this banquet. I will have to trouble everyone to leave first. I have something to discuss with fellow Taoist Chu. Princess Linglong suddenly said. She blocked Chu Kuangren's attack with a calm expression on her face. At this moment, no one dared to treat her as an ordinary princess. It was obvious that she was also a peerless Heaven's favorite. She was even better than Gu Changge. The prodigies who came to attend the banquet left with various thoughts in their minds. Brother Chu, take your time chatting with the princess. I'll take my leave first. Li Xingchen winked at Chu Kuangren and chuckled. Third brother, you may leave as well, Princess Linglong said. Gu Changfeng hesitated. Leave. Princess Linglong repeated in a stern tone. Only then did Gu Changfeng leave. Soon, only Chu Kuangren, Lan Yu, and Princess Linglong were left. Princess Linglong glanced at Lan Yu and did not allow him to leave. She then turned to Chu Kuangren and said, If I didn't manage to block that sword attack just now, third brother would most likely die. Do you really want to kill him? The air turned solemn with a hint of coldness. Chu Kuangren chuckled. If so, what would you do? No, you're luring me to attack. The princess has tricked me so much. If I don't do something about it, it won't be right. I don't like to be used by others. Chu Kuangren had long noticed that Princess Linglong was trying to set him up. She had been nice to him and used the jealousy of the other sky prides to create trouble for him. How could he just sit there and wait for his death? You tricked me, so of course I'll return the favor. After seeing Princess Linglong, he immediately used the Eye of Revelation to check on her. She was at the insightful emptiness realm, and her battle prowess was even stronger than Gu Chang'e and Fong Tian. She was strong enough to block his sword attack just now. If I can't make a move in time, then wouldn't third brother really die under your sword? Princess Linglong said. Since it's my sword, I naturally have the confidence to control it. Chu Kuangren was very confident in his swordsmanship. Even if Princess Linglong did not make a move in the end, he would have been able to control the sword gleam in time to at least ensure that Gu Changfeng did not die. Alright, now it's time to talk about why the princess has targeted me time and time again. Is it really to avenge your brother? I'm not targeting you. I'm just testing you. I would like to hear the details. Let's talk inside. When the three of them entered the palace, Princess Linglong immediately asked after she sat down, "What do you think of me?" Chu Kuangren was stunned for a moment. "Princess, are you going on a blind date with me? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm really not interested in you." His words made Princess Linglong frown. Not interested? I'm beautiful, rich, powerful, and talented. How can there be men who are not interested in me? Princess Linglong, who was used to being the center of attention, felt a little aggrieved, but she did not show it. Instead, she said nonchalantly, "Then let's change the question. What do you think the others are here for?" Most of them are here for power, wealth, and status. A small portion of them are not here for power or wealth, but for your body, Chu Kuangren said. That's straightforward. Power, wealth, status, and resources. These were the goals of most people who came to participate in the betrothal contest. However, for Taoists from sage orthodoxies like Fong Tian and Lin Badian, they did not lack any of these. They were here for Princess Linglong's body. To be more precise, they were here for the godly essence of the godly Taoist physique. That's right, the godly essence of the godly essence of the godly Taoist physique is a treasure that every cultivator in the world yearns for. Because of this physique, I've even been targeted by a young emperor, Princess Linglong said. Chu Kuangren's expression changed slightly. Young emperor? The young emperor of the Shang clan from the Scarlet Phoenix domain. My father has promised me to the Shang clan's young emperor in order to strengthen the nation's power. Young emperor was the shorthand for the young emperor. Every young emperor was an unparalleled sky pride with extraordinary combat strength. They were much stronger than people like Gu Chang'e and Fong Tian. There were a total of 8 known young emperors in the Firmament Star, scattered across the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Scarlet Phoenix, and Black Tortoise domains. The Shang clan's young emperor sounds impressive, but what does that have to do with me? Chu Kuangren asked. The Shang clan's young emperor is only focused on Taoism. To him, I'm just a tool to aid his cultivation. Once I'm no longer useful, he'll just throw me away. Princess Linglong's tone was a little resentful. Chu Kuangren listened quietly without saying a word. I'm not willing to be a tool like that, so I organized this martial arts contest in hopes of finding a sky pride who can fight against the Shang clan's young emperor. And that person is you, Chu Kuangren. Previously, I used some tricks to test you, just to confirm your abilities. Now, it seems like I made the right choice. Chu Kuangren, I want you to defeat everyone, including the Shang clan's young emperor. I want you to be my legitimate fiancé. This is a collaboration. Chu Kuangren listened to Princess Linglong's words quietly. He understood now. Princess Linglong was an independent woman who was dissatisfied with her arranged marriage. However, in order to hide it from others, she wanted to find a marriage partner, and that partner was Chu Kuangren. I'm sorry, but I refuse. Firstly, I have all the power, wealth, and resources you have. The fiancé you want is just a formality. I don't think you'll let me touch you. Secondly, I don't need to offend a young emperor just for you. Chu Kuangren was not stupid. To him, the fiancé title was not tempting at all. The only person who could benefit from it was Princess Linglong. Are you afraid of the Shang clan's young emperor? I'm sorry, but psychological tricks don't work on me. Chu Kuangren raised an eyebrow. Shang clan's young emperor? He did not know how strong his opponent was, but if he had to be afraid, he had never been afraid of anyone. He could even kill honorable supremes, let alone a so-called young emperor. 3 things. As long as you promise me, I can promise you 3 things. I'm Princess Linglong, and I possess the godly Taoist physique. My achievements are limitless, and I'll definitely be able to help you in the future. Heh, if even I can't do it, then you definitely can't. Lan Yu, let's go. Chu Kuangren turned and left. Looking at his back, Princess Linglong gritted her teeth. The godly essence, don't you want it anymore? As long as you become my fiancé, I can promise to give you the godly essence to help you achieve your Tao. That was the last and most precious thing she could offer. To her, giving it to Chu Kuangren was better than giving it to the Shang clan's young emperor whom she had never met. At least Chu Kuangren's looks suited her taste. I'm sorry, but I've already said that I'm not interested in you. I, Chu Kuangren, do not need that kind of thing to achieve the supreme Tao. With that, Chu Kuangren left without looking back. Chapter 51. Brother Chu, how is it? After returning to the inn, Xianxia hurriedly came up to him. What do you mean? It's you and Princess Linglong. What else could we be doing? We were just exchanging our cultivation daos, and I'll be back soon after, Chu Kuangren replied. He did not have the habit of publicizing other people's private affairs. The marriage of convenience was Princess Linglong's business. He would not agree to it, nor would he interfere. Did Princess Linglong ask you to stay just to have an exchange on the Tao of cultivation? Xianxia asked with a "Are you kidding me?" expression. Not everyone is as full of yellow as you. Chu Kuangren rolled his eyes and said nothing more. After tonight, the news of Chu Kuangren defeating the third prince with a single sword attack had gradually spread among the sky prides in the capital city. Chu Kuangren did not care what kind of storm it would cause. The date of the groom search competition was getting closer and closer. A few days before the competition, something big happened in the Azure Dragon domain. The luminous moon's secret realm, which had disappeared for 10,000 years, had suddenly appeared in the sky above the North Sea. In the morning, just as Chu Kuangren finished his lucky draw, Xianxia rushed into the house anxiously as if something big had happened. Brother Li, what's wrong with you? Brother Chu, let's go. Come with me to the North Sea. Why are you going to the North Sea? Aren't you going to compete in marriage? Chu Kuangren laughed. The secret realm of the luminous moon, the residence of a sage that mysteriously disappeared tens of thousands of years ago, has appeared in the sky above the North Sea. If we don't go there soon, the opportunity will be snatched away by others. How can a martial arts competition for a spouse be more important than this? Xianxia said. Secret realm of bright moon. Chu Kuangren frowned. However, anything that could be related to a sage was definitely not something simple, so he was very interested in it as well. After calling Lan Yu, the few of them rushed to the North Sea. Apart from them, all the prodigies who had gathered in the royal capital to prepare for the joust for marriage had also headed to the North Sea. Because of this, the matter of the joust for a spouse had no choice but to be temporarily postponed. The sky above the turbulent North Sea was overcast with dark clouds. In the middle of the clouds, there was a silver-white gate, engraved with the image of a bright moon. The surroundings were already filled with countless experts. There were even quite a few supremes. These people looked at the luminous moon's secret realm with incomparably solemn eyes. The luminous moon's secret realm was the residence of the luminous moon saint 10,000 years ago. There has been no news of it for 10,000 years, but it has actually reappeared today. A venerable from Jiang Valley asked curiously. That's the luminous moon sage. He's a top-notch sage who swept through an entire era. He's not much weaker than a sage king. There must be quite a number of opportunities within his secret realm, said an honorable with a scorching gaze. Although they were all sage orthodoxies, and their orthodoxies had produced sages in the past, these sages had either fallen or were in a deep slumber. Therefore, they were still very eager for the opportunity of becoming a sage. Not to mention a top-notch sage like the luminous moon sage. None of the 8 great sage orthodoxies in the Azure Dragon domain had produced such a sage. There are indeed many treasures in the secret territory, but the prerequisite is that we must be able to open the secret territory's restriction. Elder Ruyan from the Black Heaven sect had also arrived. She looked at the luminous moon secret territory in front of her and said indifferently. She was right. There was a very powerful restriction on the bright moon secret realm. Even Supremes would not be able to approach it. This was also the reason why they stopped here. Otherwise, they would have rushed in a long time ago. Although this restriction is strong, it does not exclude cultivators below the Battle Monarch realm from entering. We can allow our disciples to go in and explore first. Whatever opportunities of fortune they obtain will depend on their own luck. One of the honorables said, "They have already rushed over from the capital city. Before that, we shall seal off this place and prevent other cultivators from entering." Another honorable said domineeringly. His intention was clear. "Our sage orthodoxies haven't even entered yet, so small fries like you shouldn't come and join in the fun. Hurry up and get lost." Some of the cultivators were so angry that their faces turned green, but there was nothing they could do. After all, the other party was a sage orthodoxy. They could not compete with them at all. The strong preyed on the weak. That was the eternal rule of the cultivation world. Soon, a group of sky prides arrived at the northern seas at the same time. Lin Badian from Jiang Valley, Fang Tian from the Five Ways sect, Huayun from the Serene Wisdom sect, the Maiden Sage and Bachelor Sage from the School of White Lotus had all arrived. Chu Kuangren and the others had also arrived. What a crowd! Chu Kuangren looked at the northern seas that had been completely surrounded. There were at least hundreds of thousands of cultivators gathered here. Meanwhile, at the central area closest to the luminous moon secret realm, the higher-ups of several sage orthodoxies had gathered together. Beside them were sky prides from their respective orthodoxies, each of them hovering proudly in the air, looking extremely imposing. Especially Princess Linglong of the Royal Azure Dynasty, Guchanga. She was sitting in a carriage, surrounded by an entire army of well-equipped soldiers. Every single one of them had their heads held high and their eyes sparkled. Obviously, they were elite soldiers who had gone through hundreds of battles. The Royal Azure Dynasty's crown prince, Guchanga, had a calm expression on his face as he looked around. Chu Kuangren glanced at him and said, "This guy seems to be recovering well. I thought he was going to collapse soon." The great orthodoxies are indeed great orthodoxies. How imposing! Li Xingxian lamented. Their white jade hotel could not compare to sage orthodoxies. Then, he stared in a certain direction and pulled Chu Kuangren's sleeve. "Brother Chu, it's the White Lotus Maiden Sage." Chu Kuangren followed his gaze and saw a lady in a white dress among the sky prides from several sage orthodoxies. This lady had long black hair that cascaded down her back like a waterfall. Her skin was smooth and supple, and there was a gentle smile on her delicate face. Many cultivators stared at that lady in a daze. Even the sky prides from the other sage orthodoxies could not help but take a second look at her. White Lotus Maiden Sage by Wanqing, Paradise Realm Cultivation Base. Chu Kuangren used his eye of revelation to check. He realized that this White Lotus Maiden Sage's cultivation base was among the best among the sky prides from the sage orthodoxies. She was not any weaker than Princess Linglong. The White Lotus Maiden Sage still looks the same. She's as gentle as water. Li Xingqian suddenly sighed. "Isn't it good to be gentle like water?" Chu Kuangren asked. "Brother Chu, you may not know this, but the Maiden Sage may look approachable, but she's actually a flower on a high mountain. Countless people have tried to woo her over the years, but none of them succeeded. Besides that, I've never heard of her getting close to any man. There are no rumors about her at all." At this point, Li Xingxian paused for a moment and looked at Chu Kuangren with a strange gaze. The only exception is that a few days ago, the White Lotus Maiden Sage had publicly announced that she wants to spar with you, Brother Chu. At that point, Li Xingxian's tone was a little sour. Chu Kuangren shrugged. I don't know. He did not pay much attention to such news. Brother Chu, it's enough that you have Lan Yu by your side. Why do Princess Linglong and the White Lotus Maiden Sage have a thing for you? Li Xingxian said bitterly. Come, Brother Li, look at my face. Li Xingxian looked at him for a while, and his eyes gradually became wet. He considered himself one of the most handsome men in the world, but compared to Chu Kuangren, he was more than a level lower. No wonder the White Lotus Maiden Sage and Princess Linglong treated him differently. At that thought, Li Xingxian felt a wave of sadness. Chu Kuangren smiled and stopped fooling around with Li Xingxian. Together with Lan Yu, he flew towards Elder Ruyan and bowed. Greetings, Elder. Chapter 52. Eldest Senior Brother. Greetings, Eldest Senior Brother. Beside Elder Ruyan, Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and a few other Taoists quickly stepped forward and looked at Chu Kuangren in surprise. And, junior brothers and junior sisters, how have you been? Eldest Senior Brother, we've all heard about what you've done these past few days. Junior Brother admires you more and more. Murong Xian raised his thumb and said with a face full of admiration. Nangong Huang, who was beside him, did not say anything, but it was not difficult to see from his fanatical gaze that his admiration for Chu Kuangren was growing day by day. Chu Kuangren smiled faintly and did not say anything. Being too humble would make one look hypocritical, and being too complacent would easily attract jealousy and hatred. At this time, one should pretend to be indifferent. Sure enough, the eyes of Nangong Huang and the others became even more fervent. Eldest Senior Brother is indeed Eldest Senior Brother. He's able to maintain an indifferent Tao heart after doing such an earth-shattering thing. He's simply a role model for my generation. The Sage Orthodoxy's honorables also gave Chu Kuangren a second glance. This man is the Black Heaven sect's elder senior brother, Chu Kuangren. Just like the rumors say, his looks are peerless, and his temperament is extraordinary. Honorable swordsman White Cloud was killed by him. Talented people are born in every generation. It's a pity that such a supreme heaven's favorite doesn't belong to the Five Elements sect. What a pity! In the era of great competition, geniuses come forth in large numbers. This person might be one of the brightest stars of this era. This person can be called the young emperor. The eyes of the venerable ones lit up. Meanwhile, when the Taoists and sky prides at the scene saw their seniors looking at Chu Kuangren with admiration, a sense of dissatisfaction rose in their hearts. However, when he thought about the other party's strength, he calmed down. In the Royal Azure Dynasty's camp, when Crown Prince Guchanga saw Chu Kuangren once again, his Taoist core trembled violently, and a stunning sword ray appeared in his mind. That was the sword attack that Chu Kuangren used to defeat him. He thought that he had already forgotten about it. But when he saw her again, he realized that he hadn't. He had just deliberately suppressed it in the depths of his heart and stopped thinking about it. Chu Kuangren. Guchanga clenched her fists, the veins on her forehead bulging, and her eyes were filled with rage. It was all because of this person that his invincible heart was shattered. After returning to the palace, he spent countless treasures to recuperate and recover. Brother, calm down, Princess Linglong said calmly. Guchanga took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He looked at the secret realm of the luminous moon with a fanatical look in his eyes. He had to get his hands on this opportunity in the mystic realm. Only then would he have a chance to defeat Chu Kuangren. Not only him, but many other sky prides at the scene also had the same idea. They wanted to obtain the sage's opportunity of fortune and then surpass Chu Kuangren. How can the Xianxia tribe be absent from the sage's mysterious realm? Laughter could be heard coming from the clouds in the distance. An aura of supremacy filled the air. A scarlet-robed old man flew over. It's him, Supreme Yishui from the Xianxia clan. I didn't expect him to come too. Everyone was slightly surprised. The Xianxia race was a race that was different from the human race. It was one of the top races in the firmament and could compete with the sage orthodoxies. They were also known as the Wuxia Saint clan. The blood-robed elder was a supreme expert of the Wuxia race. He had once dominated his peers and was one of the top geniuses. His name was Supreme Yishui. Greetings, fellow Taoists. How have you been? Supreme Yishui laughed at the crowd. Everyone greeted him politely, but they soon noticed the young man beside him. That young man was wearing the same blood-colored Taoist robe as Supreme Yishui. His face was devilishly handsome, and there was a drop of cinnabar between his brows that was circulating with Taoist rhymes. Who is this young man? Why haven't I heard of him before? An unfamiliar sky pride. Everyone was surprised and secretly observed. Spirit blood child, paradise realm cultivation base, hatched from the Taoist fetus nurtured in the blood sea of the Wuxia tribe. He possesses the supreme spirit blood Taoist physique. The information from the Eye of Revelation surprised Chu Kuangren quite a bit. Supreme Taoist physique. This spirit blood child was a supreme Taoist physique. Chu Kuangren had read about the spirit blood Taoist physique before. It was one of the top 30 physiques among the 3,000 physiques. According to ancient legends, there was once an emperor in the firmament star who possessed such a physique and dominated an era. That blood-robed young man is not simple. Elder Ruyan looked at the spirit blood child and reminded Chu Kuangren and the others. Chu Kuangren nodded. He possesses the spirit blood Taoist physique. What? Elder Ruyan's expression changed slightly. How did you know? I have a kind of sensory technique that allows me to sense it. There were indeed many similar techniques in the firmament star. Elder Ruyan did not think too much about it and quickly shifted her attention back to the spirit blood child. There are very few records about the spirit blood Taoist physique, so I didn't notice it earlier. Now that you've mentioned it, it does make sense. Elder Ruyan said solemnly. After being reminded by Chu Kuangren, Nangong Huang and the others kept their guard up. Every supreme Taoist physique was not to be underestimated. Boom, boom. At that moment, dark clouds surged in the distant sky, accompanied by thunder and lightning. A few gigantic falcons covered in silvery white feathers flew towards them, and wherever they went, thunder rumbled. Similarly, an honorable aura filled the air. Who is this? It's the Thunder Falcon tribe. Another sage tribe. Wait, if the Thunder Falcon tribe is here, then he should be here too. Many of the sky prides at the scene had a serious look on their faces. Chu Kuangren was a little surprised. They were all from sage orthodoxies, and there were so many of them here, but they did not seem to be so cautious. What was so special about the Thunder Falcon tribe? Since the Thunder Falcon tribe is here, then their young emperor should be here too, Nangong Huang murmured beside Chu Kuangren. At that moment he finally understood. The young emperor, the Thunder Falcon tribe had a young emperor. A few gigantic thunder falcons landed in front of the crowd, and with a flash of light, they transformed into human forms. Among them, there was a young man dressed in a long white robe who exuded a domineering lightning-based Taoist rhyme that caught everyone's attention. That person was the young emperor of the Thunder Falcon tribe, Leo. He was one of the 8 most outstanding sky prides in the firmament star. The secret realm of the luminous moon has really attracted a lot of people. All sorts of forces and sky prides are here. Hey, it's so lively here. Even if I can't enter the secret realm myself, it's still worth it to watch these sky prides compete with each other. Now that the young emperor is here, I wonder if Chu Kuangren can go against him. After all, he was once called the young emperor by some people. The crowd was very excited as they discussed among themselves. When Lei Ao arrived, he glanced at the sky prides and shouted, "Who's Chu Kuangren? Step forward." Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Everyone's gaze immediately fell on Chu Kuangren. It seems that you're Chu Kuangren. Some people say that you can be called a young emperor, but that's a joke. You better not bump into me in this secret realm, or else I'll let you know what a young emperor is. Lei Ao was extremely domineering, issuing a challenge the moment he arrived. Chu Kuangren smiled indifferently. How dare a feathered animal like you speak so arrogantly here? I really want to kill you and turn you into a roasted chicken. As soon as Chu Kuangren said that, The Thunder Falcon tribe cultivators who came were enraged. How dare you? How dare you disrespect the young emperor? You're asking for it. Chapter 53. That one word infuriated all the Thunder Falcon tribe cultivators. They glared at Chu Kuangren and unleashed their auras. Violent lightning-based Taoist rhymes filled the void as they charged towards Chu Kuangren. At that moment, Elder Ruyan snorted. Who dares to be so presumptuous? She took a step forward and unleashed an aura that was close to that of an honorable. The auras from both sides collided, causing the void to tremble. Chu Kuangren was standing right in front of that aura. If it were any other cultivator, they would have collapsed to the ground in fear. However, he stood where he was, calm and unruffled. The wind stirred up by the pressure brushed past his robes and his ink-black hair, adding to his frivolity. At that moment, he looked more like a mad immortal than a banished immortal. Countless female cultivators could not help but be tempted by him. How arrogant! I like it. He even dares to scold the young emperor. What an unrestrained man. Look at that young emperor. He's far less handsome than Brother Chu, and he was the one who provoked him first. He deserves to be scolded. That's right. Since he was provoked, of course he should scold him back. I'm afraid the young emperor will not let this go. Countless female cultivators secretly supported Chu Kuangren. However, they were also worried about Chu Kuangren. After all, Lei Ao was a young emperor. That title represented the most terrifying strength among the younger generation. Seeing the tension between the Black Heaven sect and the Thunder Falcon tribe, the surrounding sage orthodoxies each had their own thoughts and did not stop them. In other words, they could not wait for the two sides to fight. That way, they might be able to reap the benefits. All right, all of you stop. At that moment, the Thunder Falcon tribe's honorable said. It was not that he was afraid of Elder Ruyan. On the contrary, Elder Ruyan was only a late-stage honorable and was no match for him. However, the matter of the secret realm was more important. Moreover, he could sense that there was a terrifying being hidden within the Black Heaven sect's camp. That being was probably much stronger than him. The Thunder Falcon tribe's cultivators snorted and retracted their auras. Lei Ao stared at Chu Kuangren before he let out a ferocious smile and made a throat-slitting gesture. I'll wait for you in the secret realm. Chu Kuangren curled his lips. I'm so scared. Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others could not help but chuckle when they saw that. Everyone knew that Chu Kuangren did not take Lei Ao seriously at all. Not far away, the White Lotus Maiden Sage was sizing Chu Kuangren up with an unchanging smile on her face. However, there was a hint of curiosity in her eyes. Beside her, the White Lotus Saint clenched his fists. The flames of jealousy in his eyes were about to spew out. Most of the forces and orthodoxies had arrived. Next, everyone planned to explore the luminous moon-hidden realm. Those who were above the Battle Monarch realm were not allowed to enter. Those who were allowed to enter were naturally the geniuses of various sections. The seniors gave some instructions before allowing the geniuses to enter. Swoosh! A streak of blood-colored light turned into a streak of light and charged into the mystic realm first. It was Blood Spirit Child of the Yuxia clan. Fang Tian, Lin Badian, Gu Chang'e and the rest followed closely behind. Kid, I can't enter this secret realm, so you must be careful. The seventh forefather's voice rang in Chu Kuangren's mind. Chu Kuangren nodded and led his people into the secret realm. The moment he entered the secret realm, Chu Kuangren suddenly felt a surge of spatial energy tugging at his body. Then, his eyes lit up as he arrived at the side of a lake. However, Lan Yu, Nangong Huang, and the others were nowhere to be seen. We've been separated by that spatial energy. Chu Kuangren frowned and spread his spiritual thoughts outwards. However, he could not find Lan Yu and the others within a 100-kilometer radius. With Lan Yu and the others' strength, they shouldn't have gotten into trouble so easily. Let's explore this place first, Chu Kuangren said after some thought. The luminous moon-hidden realm was much larger than the Yuanling small realm that Chu Kuangren had been to previously. He could not see the end of it at all. Chu Kuangren walked around the secret realm for half a day but did not see any opportunities of fortune. Instead, he realized that the secret realm was extremely dilapidated. In this secret realm, the water was stagnant with no ripples. The trees were all dead and lifeless. Not even a bird or an ant could be seen. It was dead silence between the heavens and the earth. Some places were even filled with gray mist. "I don't like this mist," said Yizichen. Chu Kuangren frowned as he looked at the gray mist in front of him. He could feel that the aura was filled with a decaying qi of death. At that moment, a shrill scream was heard from afar. Chu Kuangren's mind moved and he dashed towards the source of the scream. In a mountain range, more than 10 fully armored soldiers were besieging a strange beast that had black fur all over its body. The beast looked a little like a dog. Its eyes were scarlet red and it exuded a terrifying ferocious qi that sent chills down people's spines. The surrounding soldiers attacked the beast, but the beast's body was impenetrable. Their attacks were futile. On the contrary, the beast's sharp teeth and claws could easily tear through the soldiers' armor and inflict heavy damage on them. "Out of my way!" Chu Kuangren took a step forward and arrived in front of the crowd. With the Kunwu sacred sword in hand, he slashed out fiercely. An incomparably sharp sword qi whizzed out and easily cut the demonic beast in half. "It's Chu Kuangren. We're saved. That's great." As expected of a supreme sky pride, he killed this monster with a single slash. The surrounding soldiers felt like they had just survived a disaster. There was only one type of soldier that entered the luminous moon's secret realm, and that was the Royal Azure Dynasty's Imperial Guards that followed Princess Linglong and Guchanga here. Chu Kuangren ignored the Imperial Guards and was instead looking at the beast that he had just killed. The beast had the same aura as the gray mist. It was also rotten and filled with the aura of death. "This aura, what is it?" Chu Kuangren murmured. "It's the aura of death." At that moment, a female voice was heard. A woman in a luxurious robe walked over from afar. The surrounding soldiers immediately bowed and greeted her. "Greetings, Princess." It was Princess Linglong. Although he was a little surprised, Chu Kuangren was more curious about the aura of death that she mentioned. Princess Linglong continued, "This aura of death is very ancient. It can even be traced back to the body of an emperor in the ancient times. It has appeared a few times in the recent past when there were no emperors. This aura of death is very terrifying. It contains the will of death, and any beast that is infected by it will lose its mind. Black fur will also grow on its body. The ancient records call it the Black Death Beast." After Chu Kuangren heard that, he pondered. First of all, why would there be an aura of death in the luminous moon's secret realm? The fall of the luminous moon sage is undeniable. According to the ancient records, when the luminous moon sage fell, red rain fell from the sky for a day. There was even the appearance of a heavenly dog eating the moon, causing the heavens and earth to mourn. But why would there be an aura of death in his secret realm? This is indeed puzzling. Princess Linglong also fell into deep thought. "There's no point in thinking too much. Let's continue exploring," Chu Kuangren said. "All right." Princess Linglong nodded. There were too many uncertainties in this strange luminous moon's secret realm. Having one more person meant more strength. At that moment, the two of them had a tacit understanding to travel together. "Look over there." At that moment, a soldier cried out in surprise. Not far away, a saber was stabbed into a mountain peak. The saber was engraved with countless mysterious runes, and there was even a picture of a bright moon. The saber was stabbed into the mountain peak, emanating waves of sacred qi. Perhaps it was because of the sacred qi, the mountain peak was lush and green, unlike other places that were in ruins. Chapter 54. Sacred Artifact, Bright Moon Blade. Not only that, the bright moon saber still has some sage qi left on it. This means that there are still sage Taoist rhymes left on it. If I can comprehend it, I will benefit a lot. Not bad. Every sage orthodoxy had a few sage artifacts. However, there were very few sage artifacts that still had sage Taoist rhymes. The bright moon saber in front of them was extremely extraordinary, and its value far exceeded that of ordinary sage artifacts. But why would the bright moon saber be stuck here? Princess Linglong was puzzled. She glanced around and saw a huge crack at the foot of the mountain. There were also broken mountains along the way, and there were more or less remnants of saber chi on these marks. It was as if the bright moon saber had flown over, and the saber chi had left a mark on it. Only when its power was exhausted did it stab into the mountain. Could it be that the luminous moon saint was fighting with someone? Then, the bright moon saber was sent flying. Thinking of this, Princess Linglong was shocked. But no matter what, with the saint artifact before him, how could he sit back and do nothing? Chu Kuangren and Princess Linglong looked at each other and immediately attacked. None of them wanted to give it up. I want this saint artifact. How women you change so fast. Let's talk about it after you get it. Chu Kuangren chuckled. His speed was not slow at all. At this moment, a silvery white thunderbolt erupted not far away. It was wrapped in a monstrous Taoist rhyme, and it blasted towards the two of them at an extremely fast speed. Princess Linglong's expression changed, and she quickly retreated. However, Chu Kuangren did not retreat nor evade. Instead, he swung the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand, and the dazzling purple sword ray instantly destroyed the lightning. Not only that, but the sword light also slashed straight at the mountain range that erupted with thunderbolts, directly slashing several mountains into pieces. Princess Linglong could not help but shudder at the terrifying power. What a powerful sword! He didn't even use his full strength at the birthday banquet that day. Princess Linglong's heart was filled with fear. Initially, she thought that even if her strength was not as good as Chu Kuangren's, the difference would not be too big. Now, it seemed like she had been overthinking things. They weren't even on the same level. The mountain exploded, and a figure rushed out. He was dressed in a white robe, and his body was surrounded by fine lightning. A domineering aura filled the heavens and earth. It was the young emperor of the Thunder Falcon tribe, Lei Ao. I didn't expect to see you again so soon, bastard. Chu Kuangren smiled faintly and reached out to pull out the full moon blade from the mountain peak. Then, he threw it into his yin and yang ring right in front of Lei Ao. Lei Ao stared at Chu Kuangren as he recalled the power of his opponent's sword ray. He grinned. Very well, it seems that you do have some strength. You're qualified to die in my hands. Where did you get the illusion that you can kill me? Chu Kuangren sneered as sword-based Taoist rhymes emanated from his body. Lei Ao wasn't afraid to fight either. He pushed the thunder Taoist rhyme on his body to the extreme. Dark clouds gathered above his head and thunder rumbled. The power of a phenomenon erupted. Look at the phenomenon of my Taoist body, thunder and lightning. Lei Ao roared. Lightning surrounded his body like a god that controlled thunder and lightning. The majestic pressure of thunder swept in all directions. The might of a young emperor shocked Princess Linglong and the group of soldiers. Isn't it just a phenomenon? You're making it sound like nobody has any. Chu Kuangren's sword-based Taoist rhyme spread, and the sword of the heavens formed above his head while a 36th tier sword Qi Green Lotus surrounded his feet. The power of the two great transformations erupted. The terrifying power of the transformations collided high up in the sky. The surrounding mountains and rivers shook violently. It was extremely terrifying. Many sky prides who were exploring the secret realm were attracted by it. On an altar surrounded by gray mist, a figure that was bound by countless runic chains suddenly opened his eyes. He stared at the source of the transformations and laughed maniacally. Thunder Taoist physique, exquisite nine-heaven sword heart, these are the best supplements. As long as I can absorb them, I'll be able to recover 1/10,000th of my power and break out of the seal. My efforts, my Holy Spirit's power, my repair of the secret realm, and the addition of the restrictions have not been in vain. Luminous Moon Sage, you can't suppress me anymore. As the transformations collided, Chu Kuangren battled against young Emperor Lei Ao. Chu Kuangren had a supreme Taoist physique. Even if his current cultivation level was only at the nascent soul realm, with the addition of his 3 supreme foundation levels, his transformations were still stronger than Lei Ao's. There was no need for all 3 transformations. Just 2 transformations were enough to suppress Lei Ao's thunder and lightning transformation. A supreme Taoist physique is indeed not to be underestimated. Lei Ao said coldly. Then he clenched his fist and terrifying lightning leaped between his fingers. With a punch, a bolt of silver lightning exploded. This lightning was even more powerful than before with the help of the transformations. Unfortunately, it was useless. With a wave of the Descendant Self-Sword, the heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique erupted. The violent purple sword rays split the lightning with an unstoppable force. One slash, the lightning. This sword ray, the silver lightning, is not enough to handle it. Then have a taste of this, the black water falling lightning. The silver lightning around Lei Ao's body was gradually dyed with a layer of ink. The incomparably black lightning made it even more domineering. With a punch, the black lightning blocked the sword ray. Then, he waved both his fists and the black lightning intertwined to form a horrifying net that covered half of the sky and fell towards Chu Kuangren. Useless move. Chu Kuangren waved his sword and a violent sword ray poured out. It was an extremely domineering and offensive sword attack. The sword ray tore the black net apart and landed on Lei Ao's body, forcing him to retreat hundreds of feet and crash into a mountain peak. The crowd of Sky Prides who had just arrived saw this scene. They were instantly stunned. A young emperor was sent flying with a single slash. *CK me. I'll fight whoever dares to tell me that Chu Kuangren is not worthy of being called a young emperor. With this kind of strength, he definitely deserves to be called a young emperor. He's too strong. I'm afraid that sword attack has the power of a battle monarch. Terrifying, truly terrifying. Chu Kuangren's black hair danced in the wind. With the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand, he was in high spirits and shocked the crowd of Sky Prides. What's wrong? Didn't you say you want to kill me? How are you going to fight me with this little bit of strength? Chu Kuangren said indifferently. A pile of rubble exploded and Lei Ao rushed out from it. He stared at Chu Kuangren with uncontrollable anger. Crackle. The power of black lightning surrounded Lei Ao. It was extremely dense and every strand of it had the power to crush mountains and rivers. The lightning gradually condensed into a pair of black lightning wings on his back, which were engraved with a large number of mysterious runes. With a flap of the lightning wings, terrifying lightning energy swept in all directions. Wherever it touched, the ground would explode and dust would fly. Sage technique, wings of black lightning. Chu Kuangren, I'll show you my true strength. Lei Ao flapped his wings and his whole body seemed to have turned into a bolt of lightning. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Chu Kuangren. He waved his fists and countless lightning bolts were sent towards Chu Kuangren. Most of the lightning bolts were blocked by Chu Kuangren, but some of them still managed to enter his body and destroy it. After a series of violent attacks, Lei Ao had vented most of his anger. He then retreated and looked at Chu Kuangren with a sinister smile. Even a battle monarch would undoubtedly die from this round of attacks. Chu Kuangren, your body has been corroded by the black lightning. This black lightning will slowly destroy your internal organs, flesh, and blood. Will it? Why don't I feel anything? At that moment, Chu Kuangren smiled and raised his sword. Chapter 55. The sword ray was still as domineering and unparalleled as ever. Lei Ao's pupils shrank. The black lightning wings on his back flapped and terrifying lightning surged out, blocking the sword ray. He could not believe it. Why was his opponent still so strong? How could his strength not affect Chu Kuangren? What the hell is going on? No matter how hard Lei Ao thought about it, he could not figure out that there was a physique above the supreme Taoist physique called the immortal body. Indeed, Lei Ao's attack was effective on Chu Kuangren. Some of the lightning energy entered his body and caused him some damage. However, the damage was healed by the immortal body in the blink of an eye. Should I say, as expected of a young emperor? Chu Kuangren thought to himself. Ever since he left the mountain, no one had been able to hurt him, not even the battle monarch from the White Cloud City residence. He did not expect Lei Ao to do it. As far as beasts are concerned, you're not bad. Unfortunately, beasts will always be beasts. Chu Kuangren channeled the spiritual power in his body and activated the golden jade body. Sword-based Taoist rhymes surged. Just as he was about to fight Lei Ao again, a gray mist suddenly surged from afar. What's this? Why is there so much mist? The mist surged and everyone quickly retreated. Although they did not know what it was, the sky prides were not willing to touch it. However, countless tentacles suddenly extended from the gray mist and quickly wrapped around a few sky prides, dragging them in. This change made everyone's expression change. What the hell is this? Let's go! The sky prides frantically ran in the opposite direction of the gray mist. Chu Kuangren and Lei Ao also stopped fighting and planned to leave first. However, Chu Kuangren suddenly saw a few people trapped by the tentacles in front of the gray mist, unable to escape. It's Nan Gonghuang and the others. Chu Kuangren frowned. Without hesitation, he appeared in front of them in a flash and slashed with the sacred sword in his hand. The sword ray swept across the sky and cut off all the tentacles. Elder Senior Brother. Great, it's Elder Senior Brother. Nan Gonghuang and the others were delighted. Chu Kuangren said with a serious expression, "Let's go." Elder Senior Brother, Lan Yu was pulled in just now, Nan Gonghuang suddenly said, causing Chu Kuangren's expression to change drastically. Damn it. The existence within the gray mist was strange and inexplicable. It was unknown whether Lan Yu was dead or alive after being pulled into it. Chu Kuangren's heart was filled with anxiety, but his eyes were extremely cold. You guys can leave first, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Eldest Senior Brother, do you want to? Murong Xian's expression changed. He wanted to dissuade Chu Kuangren, but Chu Kuangren seemed to have guessed what they were going to say. He shouted coldly, "Leave. Go. Don't drag eldest Senior Brother down here." Nan Gonghuang gritted his teeth and said. Everyone glanced at Chu Kuangren before they left. Since I have the immortal body, I'd like to see what kind of strange existence lies within this gray mist. Chu Kuangren took a deep breath. Then, his gaze became extremely determined as he dashed into the gray mist in a flash. From afar, Lei Ao saw this scene and snorted coldly. He actually dared to charge into the deathly aura alone. He is simply seeking his own death. In the gray fog, a figure rushed in. It was Chu Kuangren. As soon as he entered, he suddenly felt a strange force being exerted on his body. Under this force, his body felt as if it was placed in a strong acid. His flesh and blood were constantly being corroded and decomposed. The immortal body began to work and quickly repaired his body. Chu Kuangren also activated his spiritual power and covered the surface of his body with a layer of spiritual power, using it to resist this strange corrosive force. This gray mist can corrode living beings. I can't stay here for long. I must quickly find Lan Yu, Chu Kuangren thought to himself. With Lan Yu's strength, she could even survive in this gray mist for a period of time, but it was only for a short period of time. Spreading his spiritual thought, Chu Kuangren continuously searched for traces of Lan Yu. Suddenly, his spiritual thought touched a barrier and was bounced back. His eyes narrowed, and he raised his hand and slashed out with his sword. The domineering purple sword ray landed on the barrier and exploded with a loud bang. However, Chu Kuangren sensed that the barrier was undamaged. There's a barrier here. Could it be that it's deliberately trapping us in the gray mist? Chu Kuangren thought to himself. At that moment, the sound of fighting and strange roars could be heard from afar. Chu Kuangren dashed towards the source of the sound and saw a few beasts with strange tentacles surrounding a woman. It's her, Princess Linglong. Chu Kuangren was shocked. He did not expect her to be dragged into this strange gray mist. Those tentacle beasts were terrifying. Each of them had the cultivation level of a battle monarch. Princess Linglong could not fight them and could only dodge in panic. Chu Kuangren, save me. Princess Linglong was overjoyed when she saw Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren, however, turned around and left without hesitation. What a joke, he still wanted to find Lan Yu. The longer he stayed in this place, the more danger Lan Yu would be in. Compared to Lan Yu, Princess Linglong was worthless to him. Seeing Chu Kuangren turn around and leave, Princess Linglong panicked and shouted again, "I know what's going on with this gray mist, save me." Hearing that, Chu Kuangren stopped in his tracks. He did not know how big this gray mist was, so it would not be efficient to search for Lan Yu aimlessly. If he could figure out the source of this gray mist, it might be of help to him. Thinking of this, Chu Kuangren did not hesitate and attacked. With a slash of the sacred sword, a domineering purple sword ray whizzed out, and in the blink of an eye, a tentacle of a beast was cut off. A shrill cry like that of a baby came out from the mouth of the strange beast. Then, the beast locked onto Chu Kuangren, its scarlet eyes filled with cruelty. Countless tentacles danced towards Chu Kuangren. Is this the existence hidden in this gray mist? Its cultivation level is not low. Chu Kuangren activated his Eye of Revelation. Streams of information flashed past his eyes at a crazy rate. This beast was also a Black Death beast. Mutated Black Death beast, peak battle monarch realm cultivation level, formed from the Black Light Sage's death chi, specially used to capture living beings for him. Black Light Sage? Who was this? Chu Kuangren caught the key information and temporarily suppressed his doubts. He said to Princess Linglong, "Retreat behind me." Princess Linglong did not suspect anything and quickly hid behind Chu Kuangren. "I can't be bothered to play with you guys." Chu Kuangren took out a jade bottle from his yin and yang ring and smashed it. A formless dust spread out, and Chu Kuangren used his spiritual power to wrap the dust and hit the surrounding Black Death beasts. When the dust came into contact with the Black Death beasts, they instantly let out an incomparably shrill scream as their bodies began to melt into a puddle of blood. After 2 to 3 breaths, the Black Death beasts had all turned into a puddle of blood mixed with their internal organs, emitting a disgusting stench. Princess Linglong's heart trembled. Try Dark Cleansing Ruler's Dust. She had read about this item in the ancient records, but she had never seen it with her own eyes. This terrifying power made her heart palpitate. These were all peak battle monarch realm Black Death beasts, yet they turned into puddles of blood in such a short time. Chapter 56. Don't worry, I'm not lying to you. Princess Linglong's heart skipped a beat when she saw Chu Kuangren's cold stare. She was one of the most talented women in the world, and she was also the princess of the royal Azure dynasty. How could Chu Kuangren be so easily defeated? Princess Linglong could not figure it out. She continued, "This gray mist is special. It's formed by the condensation of the Qi of Death, and there's a barrier around it. I've seen this in the records of the Qi of Death. I'm afraid this is a domain. Go on." According to the records, over 10,000 years ago, this gray fog appeared once. At that time, the gray fog enveloped an entire city. Later on, someone went to investigate and found that there were only a few survivors left in the city. The rest had all been corroded and decomposed. Princess Linglong did not continue after that. Chu Kuangren frowned. "That's it? That's all the records say." Domain. The Battle Monarch Realm cultivators can create their own domains, and some cultivators have specialized techniques to cultivate their domains. As their cultivation level increases, their domains will also change. Could this gray mist be a man-made domain? Chu Kuangren pondered and combined the information he received from the Eye of Revelation. His gaze gradually became extremely cold. Black Light Sage. The Black Death Beast was raised by the Black Light Sage, and this domain is most likely man-made. Perhaps he's the one behind all this. But he's a sage. If he really wanted to kill us, he could just kill us with a finger. Why would he go through all this trouble? The domain, the Black Death Beast, and even this mystic realm was created by him. This means he has some kind of limitation. Chu Kuangren's mind was filled with all sorts of thoughts. No matter what, the Black Light Sage was the source of all problems. To solve this gray mist, he had to be found first. I'll look for Lan Yu while looking for this person. If this domain is really made by him, then he must be inside it too. Chu Kuangren had an idea and left the place. Princess Linglong followed. She had to admit that being by Chu Kuangren's side gave her the most sense of security at times like this. Along the way, the two met another sky pride. It was Huayun from the sacred lands of serene wisdom. However, it was obvious that he was severely injured at this time, and there was not much spiritual power left in him. Without the protection of spiritual power, his body was rapidly being corroded and decomposed. When he saw Chu Kuangren and his companion, he immediately called for help. "Brother Chu, princess, please save me." Princess Linglong glanced at Chu Kuangren. It was obvious that Chu Kuangren was her priority now. Chu Kuangren turned a deaf ear as he watched Huayun being corroded and decomposed. Suddenly, an idea popped into his mind. The gray fog was corroding and decomposing human flesh. What would happen after the corrosion? This blacklight sage had gone through so much trouble to bring them into this domain. Was it purely to kill them? At that thought, Chu Kuangren continued to observe Huayun. His gaze was as cold as ice, and he had no intention of helping him. Huayun's heart shook and he quickly said, "Brother Chu, what happened at the banquet was my fault. Please save me." However, Chu Kuangren continued to ignore him. "Princess Linglong, quick, save me." Seeing that Chu Kuangren was unmoved, Huayun turned his attention to Princess Linglong. Princess Linglong was a little hesitant. "Chu Kuangren, one more person means one more force in this place. Why don't shut up?" Chu Kuangren glared at Princess Linglong. Princess Linglong felt as if she was being strangled, choking on her words. One more person means one more force? What a joke. Someone like him is considered a force? He's just a burden. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. "Chu Kuangren, you're so cruel." Seeing that there was no hope of saving him, Huayun's eyes were filled with hatred. "Just because I mocked you at the banquet, you're going to leave me in the lurch. You're not worthy of being called a sky pride. You're not worthy of being called a human. I curse you to suffer the same fate as me, to die a horrible death." Huayun cursed hoarsely. However, Chu Kuangren's gaze did not change at all. Huayun's curses did not affect Chu Kuangren at all. He just quietly watched as Huayun disintegrated into nothingness. Beside him, Princess Linglong could not help but shiver. At the moment when Huayun was completely corroded, a blood-colored ray of light appeared and dashed towards a certain direction. "Something's up." Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up as he followed closely behind the blood-colored ray of light. Princess Linglong followed suit as well. At that moment, she finally understood why Chu Kuangren would coldly watch Huayun disintegrate. She could not help but sigh in her heart. However, to coldly watch a person disintegrate just to prove his hypothesis. This man was indeed cold-hearted. Chu Kuangren followed the blood-colored ray of light and arrived at the depths of the gray mist. From afar, they could see an altar with an old man bound by runic chains on it. The blood-colored ray of light came to the altar and entered the old man's mouth and nose. "Comfortable? This is the taste of a sky pride." The old man's face was filled with joy. Princess Linglong, who was following closely behind, was shocked when she saw this. This old man is feeding on sky prides. Chu Kuangren took out the descendant self-sword and walked towards the old man. At the same time, a large number of runes circulated in his eyes as he analyzed the old man's information. Black Light Sage, one of the protectors of the sacred palace of death. His cultivation level is at the peak of the Great Sage realm. He's currently in an incomplete state, and he's cultivating a sage technique. His opponent was a sage. With Chu Kuangren's current cultivation level, he could not see through him as clearly as he could with the Eye of Revelation. However, he did obtain a lot of useful information. For example, the Sacred Palace of Death. It was an unfamiliar force. Chu Kuangren made a mental note of it. Bang, bang. At that moment, a few runic chains on the altar shattered, absorbing the essence of a sky pride's flesh and blood to break through the seal. Your sage technique, gluttonous devouring technique, is quite extraordinary, Chu Kuangren said calmly. On the altar, the Black Light Sage's eyes narrowed. Little fella, who are you? How do you know my technique? However, Chu Kuangren suddenly made his move the moment he spoke. The heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique was instantly activated. The domineering purple sword ray swept towards the Black Light Sage's head. His eyes narrowed as he let out a long roar. A horrifying aura of death gushed out from his mouth and forcefully blocked the purple sword ray. What a decisive sky pride. First, you revealed my technique and attacked me while I was distracted. If you were a little stronger, or if I was a little weaker, you might have succeeded. What a shame, what a shame. The Black Light Sage laughed with a look of admiration in his eyes. Without saying a word, Chu Kuangren activated his 3 Taoist physique transformations and once again performed the heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique, intending to kill the Black Light Sage in one fell swoop. However, a terrifying surge of Sage Taoist rhyme burst out from the Black Light Sage's body, forming a chi barrier that blocked all the attacks. A sage is a sage. Even if he's broken and sealed, he's still not that easy to kill, Chu Kuangren murmured. Chapter 57. Human Mountain Stamp. Heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique. Within the gray mist, horrifying explosions continued to resound. Chu Kuangren continued to attack, intending to kill the Black Light Sage. However, it was not that easy to kill a sage. The sage had formed a chi barrier around him, and no matter how Chu Kuangren attacked, it was futile. Moreover, this was the sage's incomplete power. It might not even be 1 in 10,000. One could only imagine how terrifying this sage was at his peak. Little brat, what you're doing is useless. Your strength is still too weak. You can't even touch me, let alone kill me. Just find a place and wait for your death. You have a supreme Taoist physique, so your flesh and blood essence is a great supplement to me. The Black Light Sage stared at Chu Kuangren with a strong desire. It was like a hungry ghost looking at a banquet. Chu Kuangren stopped his attack and said coldly, "You're the one who reappeared the luminous moon's secret realm? It's all for the sake of luring us here and turning us into your food to recover our strength and break the seal." "That's right, but it's too late now. Within my domain, none of you can escape, and you can't kill me." The Black Light Sage smiled proudly. At that moment, another blood-colored ray of light came from afar and entered the Black Light Sage's body. His aura grew stronger by several notches. "KKK, the taste of a sky pride is wonderful." The Black Light Sage had a joyful expression on his face. "I've spent a lot of time to add restrictions to this luminous moon's secret realm, only allowing cultivators below the Battle Monarch realm to enter. This is a sage's secret realm, so the orthodoxies outside will definitely not let their sky prides enter. Little do they know, they're just sending me food. At this moment, no one can save you in this secret realm. Once my strength recovers, I'll expand my domain. By then, none of the sky prides in this secret realm will be able to escape." The Black Light Sage laughed out loud, his eyes filled with pride. He was not worried that revealing his plan would fail. He had planned for so long, and now that everything was under his control, so what if he revealed everything? No one could do anything to him. "Luminous Moon Sage, I came to invite you to join the Sage Palace out of kindness, but you didn't appreciate it and even tried to suppress me. Now, even though I'm sealed, you've died from my injuries. Now, I'm about to break the seal. I've won." The Black Light Sage laughed heartily. After 10,000 years, the battle between him and the Luminous Moon Sage was finally coming to an end. Chu Kuangren retracted his transformation and left. "He's leaving just like that?" Princess Linglong was puzzled. "Not leaving? Do you want me to stay here and listen to him show off?" Chu Kuangren said coldly and left without looking back. "Where do you think you can go?" "In my domain, aside from waiting for your deaths, where else can you go?" Looking at Chu Kuangren and his companion's departing silhouette, the Black Light Sage said in disdain. After leaving the sealed area, Chu Kuangren found a cave within the gray mist. He walked in and took out a large pile of treasures. These were all obtained from Yuan Ling's treasury. Every single item was worth a fortune. "What are you going to do?" Princess Linglong asked, puzzled. "Seclusion, breakthrough, and then kill a sage," Chu Kuangren said coldly. However, there was a rare sense of urgency in his eyes. Princess Linglong understood his urgency. "If you go into seclusion, no matter how talented you are, it will take a few days. In these few days, the sky prides that entered the gray mist will all be dead. The sage's strength will increase again. At that time, even if you break through to the insightful void realm, will you still be able to deal with him? Princess Linglong was met with silence after she finished speaking. Indeed, Chu Kuangren knew what she said made sense. Moreover, Lan Yu's life was uncertain now. Whether he could calm down and go into seclusion was also unknown. I have an idea. Princess Linglong suddenly said. What idea? Godly essence. Say that again? Chu Kuangren was stunned. I'll give you the godly essence. You can use its power to break through in a short period of time. Princess Linglong said indifferently, as if she was not talking about her innocence. Are you serious? Chu Kuangren's gaze froze. What do you think? Princess Linglong took a deep breath and slowly took off her robe, revealing her snow-white body. One had to admit that Princess Linglong was very beautiful. Her figure was also extremely good. Chu Kuangren looked at her and was momentarily dazed, but he quickly looked away. I don't need this kind of method to break through. Princess Linglong saw his dazed look. Even if it was only for a moment, she did not know why, but she was a little excited. It turned out that she was not completely unattracted to him. You have no other choice. Princess Linglong slowly walked up and hugged Chu Kuangren, whispering into his ear. Then, without waiting for Chu Kuangren to make a move, she took the initiative to undress him. Those who did not know would think that Chu Kuangren was the one at a disadvantage. Chu Kuangren, don't tell me you can't do it? Princess Linglong saw that Chu Kuangren was frozen on the spot and could not help but say, You forced me to do this. At that point, Chu Kuangren also made his move. He turned the tables and pressed Princess Linglong onto the ground. In an instant, the cave was filled with life. Not long after, mysterious Taoist patterns flowed between the two of them, forming a white ball of light that enveloped both of them. The ball of light moved up and down, and a faint sorrowful sound could be heard. Chu Kuangren felt like he was wrapped in a hot spring. A mysterious Taoist rhyme surged into his heart, and an incomparably pure energy entered his body. It exploded in his spiritual mound and swept through his limbs and bones. The Taoist foundation, golden core, and nascent soul within his body were all excited. A large amount of spiritual power gathered in his spiritual mound and gradually turned into 9 purple pillars with mysterious Taoist runes engraved on them. With the 9 spiritual pillars as the foundation, a gorgeous Taoist palace gradually formed. This was the Purple Palace realm. The Purple Palace realm foundation represented the Paradise realm. The 9 spiritual pillars represented the supreme 9th grade Purple Palace realm. Just when Chu Kuangren successfully formed the 9th grade Purple Palace realm, a terrifying phenomenon appeared in the outside world. Taoist rhymes reverberated between heaven and earth, spiritual qi surged, and a purple light bloomed in the gray mist. An incomparably glorious Purple Palace realm appeared. The sealed Blacklight Sage noticed it immediately, and his expression suddenly changed. Supreme Foundation, 9th grade Purple Palace realm. The higher the Supreme Foundation realm, the harder it was to form. A 9-colored nascent soul was already rare in the world. A 9th grade Purple Palace realm was also rare in the past 100,000 years. Who is it? Who could have formed such a foundation realm? Could it be? The Blacklight Sage thought of Chu Kuangren. In the entire domain, only Chu Kuangren was a complete nascent soul cultivator, and only he could form such a supreme foundation realm. But to break through the Paradise realm and form the supreme Purple Palace realm in such a short period of time, how did he do it? The Blacklight Sage's expression was terrifyingly gloomy. There was a variable in his plan. Chapter 58. A peerless 9th grade Violet Palace formed, and a strange phenomenon appeared in heaven and earth. The sound of the Tao reverberated, and the Tao rhymes spread in all directions. Even the Blacklight Sage's domain could not isolate this surge of Taoist rhyme. After all, he was currently in an incomplete state. Taoist rhymes filled the air, affecting the entire mystic realm. Many geniuses noticed it. They all looked at the gray fog and saw a faint purple light flowing in it. A towering and somewhat illusory Taoist palace appeared. The Taoist palace was incomparably gorgeous, and it contained 9 spiritual pillars. When the crowd saw this, they thought of something. That's the Violet Palace? Hiss, 9 spirit pillars. It was a 9th grade Violet Palace. How is this possible? There's actually someone who can condense such a foundation. Who is it that can do such a thing in the gray fog? Wait a minute. Rumor has it that eldest brother Darkheaven once formed 3 supreme foundations all by himself. Could it be him? If that's true, then it's terrifying. On a certain mountain peak, Lei Ao stared at the direction of the gray mist with a grave expression. 9th grade Purple Palace Realm. Who is that? Could it really be that Chu Kuangren? Thinking of this, Lei Ao's heart sank. Even before Chu Kuangren attained the Paradise Realm, he had already exerted a tremendous amount of pressure on him. If Chu Kuangren were to attain the Paradise Realm and condense the 9th grade Purple Palace, Lei Ao did not dare to think any further. Now, he could only hope that the being in the gray mist could kill Chu Kuangren. That way, he would not have another opponent like Chu Kuangren. In another place, Gu Chang'e stared at the gray fog. It's him, it must be him. There aren't many nascent soul realm cultivators that entered the secret territory. He is definitely the most outstanding one. If anyone can condense a 9th rank purple mansion, it must be him. It's not enough for this guy to condense 3 supreme foundations in a row. Now he's also condensing a supreme violet palace. Heavenly Tao, you're unfair. Gu Chang'e had a feeling that Chu Kuangren would be the one to condense the 9th grade supreme purple palace. This made him so angry that he could barely breathe. Previously, his 3 supreme foundations were already enough to crush him. What about now? He was probably nothing in front of the other party. A 9th grade Violet Palace Realm. It must be eldest senior brother. Apart from eldest senior brother, who else has this kind of ability? He was different from Lei Ao, Gu Chang'e and the rest. Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the rest were filled with excitement. Supreme Taoist Foundation, Supreme Golden Core, Supreme Nascent Soul, and now Supreme Violet Kingdom. Eldest senior brother is mighty. This era only has one name, and that name is Chu Kuangren. Within the domain of gray fog, Chu Kuangren used the godly essence to condense a 9th grade purple palace, but that was not all. The effects of the godly essence allowed him and Princess Linglong to enter a state of Taoist enlightenment, to comprehend the mysterious Taoist Tao. Everything he had learned in the past was now organized. The human mountain stamp, ultimate heaven-slaying sword drawing technique, heavenly purple myrtle sword art, and other techniques were carefully sorted out in the state of enlightenment. Find the loopholes and fill in the gaps. This was especially true for the heavenly amethyst sword art. Chu Kuangren had forcefully elevated this sage technique to the level of a great sage technique. All sorts of profound mysteries were indescribably wonderful. Apart from that, their cultivation levels were also increasing rapidly. Insightful void early stage, insightful void middle stage, insightful void late stage. Suddenly, Chu Kuangren opened his eyes. Inside the cave, the white orb of light shattered. Chu Kuangren stood up naked, took out a white Taoist robe, and put it on. Wait here, I'm going to slay a sage. Chu Kuangren said calmly. Princess Linglong stretched her body and nodded with a blushing face. Swoosh, Chu Kuangren disappeared from where he was, and when he reappeared, he was already at the altar. A terrifying surge of sword-based Taoist rhyme gushed out. The Blacklight Sage had long guessed that Chu Kuangren would come, so he was not surprised. He only said in surprise, I can't believe you could break through to the Paradise Realm in such a short time and condense a supreme purple palace. Before he could finish his sentence, a sword ray greeted him. An unparalleled attack, dazzling purple sword ray. The Blacklight Sage opened his mouth and let out a roar, and a large amount of death chi gushed out. When the two forces collided, the horrifying shockwave shook the entire domain space. It was incomparably terrifying. The Sky Prides who were sucked into the gray fog domain were all shocked. What's going on? Don't tell me there's another unforeseen event. Amidst the gray fog, a silhouette in a gorgeous silver armor dashed towards the source of the shockwave. That person was Lan Yu. That 9th grade Purple Palace disciple just now must be Master. No, I need to get to Master's side as soon as possible. Lan Yu thought to himself. What a powerful sword ray. You've just broken through to the Paradise Realm, yet you can already unleash such combat strength. You're indeed extraordinary. Consuming one of you is equivalent to consuming dozens of sky prides. The Black Light Sage looked at Chu Kuangren greedily. Chu Kuangren, on the other hand, noticed that his opponent's strength was slightly stronger than before. It was obvious that he had consumed a few more sky prides. The runic chains on the altar had decreased by a few more. I must not let this person break out of the seal. Chu Kuangren focused his gaze and activated all 3 supreme Taoist physique transformations. The Sword of the Heavens, the 9 Heavens Sword Domain, and the Green Lotus Sword Song. With the 3 transformations surrounding him, Chu Kuangren's sword-based Taoist rhyme had reached its peak. Not only that, but the 4 supreme foundation levels within his body also radiated with a supreme divine light, and the surface of his body became crystal clear like golden jade. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Within his body, spiritual power surged like a tsunami. Just when Chu Kuangren was about to unleash his sword, a hint of surprise flashed across his eyes. Then, he swung the sacred sword down as if nothing had happened. Heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique. The terrifying purple sword ray almost covered the entire sky. The sword ray landed and locked onto the Black Light Sage. Under this attack, cracks finally appeared on the deathly chi barrier that surrounded the Black Light Sage. Boom, boom. The cracks widened, and it finally exploded. The sword ray ruthlessly slashed onto the Black Light Sage's physical body, but the old body suddenly burst into light and blocked the sword ray. Although my strength is less than 1/10,000th, this sage's body of mine is truly formed from the condensation of peerless Taoist patterns. Do you think your sword can hurt me? The Black Light Sage laughed. This was why he was so fearless. How could an ordinary cultivator destroy a sage's body? I still have a saber here. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Then, a long saber appeared in his hand and he threw it out. The long saber was as fast as a meteor, piercing through the void. That's the full moon saber. Not good. The Black Light Sage's pupils shrank, and his expression changed drastically. Just when he was about to do something, Chu Kuangren was one step ahead of him. Majestic earth chi emerged and turned into a godly mountain. Under the pressure of the godly mountain, the Black Light Sage's movements were a step slower. The full moon saber let out a dazzling brilliance, and in a trance, a white-robed figure holding a saber appeared. It was a handsome middle-aged man. The Black Light Sage looked as if he had seen a ghost when he saw this man. Luminous Moon Sage. How is this possible? Everything happened in a split second. The Luminous Moon Sage wielded the full moon saber and unleashed his sage Taoist rhymes, tearing apart the Black Light Sage's body and decapitating him. At that moment, an illusory figure separated from the Black Light Sage's body and dashed away in a frenzy. Chapter 59. Trying to escape? No way. Chu Kuangren had long prepared for the Black Light Sage's sage spirit to escape. Activating the 9 Heaven Sword Prison, the 12 sword chi pillars sealed the sky and ground. Without a sage's body, the sage spirit was like a rootless duckweed. Moreover, the Black Light Sage had spent a lot of his sage power to repair the secret realm and add more restrictions. His sage spirit was even more exhausted than his cultivation base. There was no way out of the 9 Heaven Sword Prison. Die. It was a pity that he could not capture a sage spirit. However, Chu Kuangren could not care less. Activating the Descendant Self Sword, a terrifying sword ray shot out and locked onto the sage spirit. Amidst a mournful scream, the sacred spirit was annihilated. A sage had fallen. At that moment, the entire secret realm shook violently. The gray mist domain lost its master and began to collapse. Between the heavens and the earth, a torrential rain fell, and countless beasts and birds let out shrill cries of grief. A sage had fallen, the sky was raining red, and all creatures were crying in grief. Outside the secret realm, the sky rumbled, and a rain of red rain fell. The northern sea water roared and the wind howled. Whether it was beasts or birds, as long as they were not sentient, they all let out cries of grief. The sudden phenomenon shocked everyone. This is a phenomenon that only occurs when a sage has fallen. Who is it that has fallen? Oh my God, it's been a long time since I've seen a sage fall. What's going on? Why would a sage suddenly fall? Could it be that one of the sages has reached the end of their lifespan? Elder Ruyan, the Thunder Falcon tribe, and the other orthodoxies honorables were all shocked. They contacted their orthodoxies and asked about something. After a series of questions, everyone was confused. They didn't receive any grievous news, so who was the cause of this red rain and the mournful wailing of thousands of spirits? Could something have happened to the secret realm? Impossible. According to the records, the luminous moon sage has fallen long ago. Unless there's a second sage in this secret realm. Is that possible? Everyone was confused. Meanwhile, inside the luminous moon's secret realm, the gray mist domain collapsed, and everyone saw Chu Kuangren standing proudly in the air with the luminous moon sage beside him. Some people recognized the luminous moon sage. Look, that's the luminous moon sage. Isn't he dead? What the hell is going on? The saber in his hand is indeed the bright moon saber, the sacred weapon of the bright moon sage. However, he died 10,000 years ago. Why is Chu Kuangren there too? Everyone was surprised and bewildered. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren stared at the luminous moon sage with a hint of wariness in his eyes. He said, "Senior, can you give me an explanation?" Just now, when he was fighting with the Black Light Saint, the bright moon saber in his interspatial ring made a strange noise. The voice of the bright moon saint appeared, telling him to throw the saber at the Black Light Saint and prevent the Holy Spirit from escaping. The luminous moon sage smiled faintly. There is no need to be so wary of the future heaven's favorites. I am already dead. There is no doubt about it. What's in front of you now is just a remnant of my spirit. There's no need for you to do anything. It will dissipate on its own in a while. This remnant of my spirit has been residing in the full moon blade for many years, all for the sake of having a chance to slay the Black Light Saint. It's all thanks to your assistance today. After that, the luminous moon sage bowed towards Chu Kuangren. This scene caused everyone to be shocked. A dignified sage bowed to a junior. Chu Kuangren stood where he was and accepted it calmly. He then looked at the Black Light Saint's corpse on the altar. I want that corpse. Senior, you don't have any objections, do you? The luminous moon sage smiled faintly. Of course. It's all thanks to your assistance in slaying the Black Light Saint. I destroyed the physical body, and you killed the Holy Spirit. Of course, you have the right to dispose of this corpse. Some of the Sky Prides who arrived at the scene were dumbfounded. What did they just hear? Chu Kuangren and the luminous moon sage joined forces to slay a sage. Was this for real? One of the Sky Prides gulped. Red rain falls from the sky, thousands of souls mourn, and the phenomenon of a fallen sage. How can this be fake? How can this Chu Kuangren be so terrifying? Didn't he kill an honorable supreme before? How can he kill another sage now? Is he going to proclaim himself an emperor next? I can't believe such a monster has appeared in this era of great battles. The crowd of Sky Prides was extremely shocked. Looking at the peerless white-robed figure in the sky, they could not bring themselves to compete with him. How could they compete? How could a firefly be compared to the bright moon? I'm afraid it's impossible for me to surpass him in this lifetime, the Sky Pride Fong Tian murmured with a bitter expression. Beside him, Lin Batin sighed helplessly and lamented, living in the same era as him, it's really sad. The crowd of Sky Prides could not help but lament. At that moment, there was only one thought in their minds. What era of great battles? It was all bullsh*t. With Chu Kuangren standing there, what was there for the others to compete for? If they wanted to compete, they should be the ones fighting. Chu Kuangren was not even in the same world as them. Farewell, future sky prides. The remnant spirit of the luminous moon sage gradually dissipated. Farewell, senior. Chu Kuangren bowed slightly. If it were not for the luminous moon sage, he might not have been able to kill the black light sage. Hence, he was very grateful to the luminous moon sage. It's a shame that I can't witness this era of great battles with my own eyes. A hint of regret flashed across the luminous moon sage's eyes. Chu Kuangren's heart skipped a beat. How did the luminous moon sage know that this was an era of great battles? Before Chu Kuangren could ask any more questions, the luminous moon sage turned around and looked at the black light sage's corpse on the altar. He laughed heartily. Brother Blacklight, although it's been 10,000 years, I've still won this battle in the end. His laughter gradually disappeared along with the remnant spirit. Chu Kuangren held the full moon blade in his hand. There were still some remnants of sage Taoist rhymes on it. Although it was not as rich as before, it would still be of great help to an honorable if he were to properly understand it. After all, this was the Tao of a sage. After keeping the blade, Chu Kuangren dashed towards the altar. Looking at the black light sage's corpse before him, a smile appeared on his face. The sage chi, sage Taoist rhymes, and sage weapons were all rare treasures, not to mention a freshly dead sage's corpse. Whether it was used to understand the Tao, refine weapons, or refine puppets, this sage's corpse was an excellent material. The value of this corpse was worth 10 sage weapons. Chu Kuangren kept the corpse into his yin and yang ring. Master! A surprised voice was heard. Chu Kuangren turned around and saw Lan Yu flapping her wings and flying towards him. His face immediately lit up with joy. Lan Yu! Lan Yu, are you all right? I'm fine. How are you, Master? I'm fine. After asking around, Chu Kuangren found out that although Lan Yu had encountered a few black death beasts after entering the Grey Mist domain, she was ultimately safe. Oh, sorry to disturb the both of you. Princess Linglong suddenly walked over. Upon seeing her, Chu Kuangren's expression froze. Lan Yu, on the other hand, frowned, feeling that this woman in front of them was a little strange. Her tone just now seemed a little jealous? Was it an illusion? You're here. Chu Kuangren took a deep breath and looked at her with a complicated gaze. You don't have to say anything. It was all for my own survival, and I was the one who initiated it, Princess Linglong said calmly. It was obvious that she was very open about this matter. But no matter what, I should have contributed to you killing a sage. I want the full moon blade and half of the sage's corpse. Princess Linglong said. Sure. Chu Kuangren nodded. He took out the full moon blade and the black light sage's corpse. Princess Linglong took the blade and wanted to chop off half of the sage's corpse, but she realized that the sage's body was indestructible. Helpless, she could only take away the luminous moon sage's head. The head was the head of the 6 yang energies, where the soul was stored. It was worth the remaining half of the corpse. Goodbye. Princess Linglong took the items and left gracefully. Chu Kuangren stood there and frowned. Chapter 60. Master, what happened between you and the princess? Lan Yu asked in confusion. Sigh, it's all bad luck. Chu Kuangren sighed. Lan Yu was even more confused. Her sapphire blue eyes stared unblinkingly at Chu Kuangren, waiting for him to explain. Nothing much. Let's go find Nan Gonghuang and the others first. All right then. Lan Yu nodded. Although she was a little concerned, she would not pursue the matter if Chu Kuangren did not say anything. The two of them packed their things and left. On top of a mountain peak, a group of sky prides was gathered together. In the middle of them was a Taoist hall. In the middle of the hall sat a middle-aged man in a white robe with skin as white as jade. However, this person did not seem to be angry at all. He was like a statue. If Chu Kuangren was here, he would recognize that it was the luminous moon sage. To be precise, it was the corpse of the luminous moon sage. The corpse's white robe was stained with blood as if it had just gone through a great battle. It returned to the Taoist hall, laid down a restriction, and then passed away. The luminous moon sage has been dead for 10,000 years, but his corpse is still immortal. A sage is indeed mysterious. I wonder who it was that managed to kill the luminous moon saint. Could it be that strange existence in the gray fog? Although this sage has been dead for 10,000 years and his Taoist rhymes are not as abundant as when he just died, there is still some sage qi left in his body. If used well, it would be of great use to an honorable. That's right. But let's open the restriction first. There was a layer of restriction around the Taoist hall. It was a restriction set by a sage. Originally, even an honorable would not be able to break it. However, with the passage of time and the erosion of the death qi, there was only a thin layer left of the restriction, giving everyone a chance. Everyone, what do you think? At that moment, young Emperor Lei Ao spoke. Around him, the White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Guchanga, Dharma Sect Yuanhong, and the other Sky Prides looked at each other without saying a word. Lei Ao continued, "What? Do you plan to leave empty-handed after seeing the sage's body in front of you? If it wasn't for the fact that I couldn't break this restriction by myself, why would I need the help of a bunch of idiots like you?" The White Lotus Sage's face darkened. He said coldly, "Lei Ao, don't you think it's too much to have such an attitude when you are asking for our help? Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking for your help. I'm asking you to help me. Unless you don't want this saint's body." Lei Ao said coldly. He was confident that no matter who it was, even if it was a venerable, they would be tempted by the body of a sage. After opening the restriction, who will the sage's body belong to? The White Lotus Saintess asked the question that everyone was most concerned about. Of course it depends on our own abilities. Lei Ao laughed. Everyone had different expressions. Needless to say, the strongest person present was undoubtedly young Emperor Lei Ao. Based on their own abilities, Lei Ao had the upper hand. You're all top-notch Sky Prides of your respective orthodoxies, yet you don't even have this bit of courage? No wonder you can't even defeat Chu Kuangren. Lei Ao said indifferently. Hearing this, Gu Changa's face darkened. All right then, as you wish. After opening the restriction, we'll have to rely on our own abilities. When the White Lotus Bachelor Sage heard the name Chu Kuangren, his expression turned hostile as well. I have no objections then. The rest of the geniuses agreed one by one. Not all of them were goaded into action. After all, with the sage's body in front of them, they could not possibly return empty-handed. Instead of sitting back and doing nothing, they might as well give it their all. Very well. Lei Ao laughed as he thought to himself, this Chu Kuangren is really unlikable. Just one mention and it has such an effect. Not far away, Nangong Huang and the others looked at each other. Tisk, luckily Elder's senior brother is not here now. Otherwise, would they even have a chance to lay their hands on the sage's body? Elder's senior brother is not here, but he's everywhere. This Lei Ao even has to borrow Elder's senior brother's name to snatch a corpse. Murong Xian shook his head, his admiration for Chu Kuangren growing. Are we going to fight later? Of course. Even if Elder's senior brother is not here, we must not tarnish the name of the Black Heaven sect, Nangong Huang said. They were all Black Heaven sect Taoists, and they were also top-notch Sky Prides. Aside from Chu Kuangren, the others, even a peerless Sky Pride like young Emperor Lei Ao, dared to compete with them. I'll make the first move. Lei Ao was the first to attack. He leaped into the air, and a domineering lightning-based Taoist rhyme circulated around his body. A pair of black thunder wings suddenly appeared. Blackwater falling thunder. The violent black thunder blasted towards the seal. In an instant, the White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Guchanga, Yuanhong, and the others also made their moves, each displaying their ultimate techniques from their orthodoxies. White Rainbow Piercing Sun. The White Lotus Maiden Sage and Bachelor Sage unleashed a palm attack, and their horrifying palm energy condensed into a dazzling white light that smashed towards the seal like a rainbow. It was a top-notch supreme technique. Universal Bronze Flow. The Dharma sect's Taoist Yuanhong, on the other hand, gathered the spiritual qi from the heavens and earth, forming a majestic spiritual qi torrent that was unleashed. Guchanga raised his fist, and the roar of a dragon resounded through the clouds. The The sky prides of each orthodoxy attacked one after another. Horrifying Taoist rhyme fluctuations spread out, and when they collided with the seal, an earth-shattering explosion erupted, shaking the entire mountain. Even the void was distorted and trembling. Crack crack, under the joint attack of the sky prides, a huge crack appeared on the seal that was filled with all sorts of Taoist patterns, and it continued to spread. In the end, the seal that had existed for tens of thousands of years and had been continuously eroded by the deathly aura could not withstand this attack, and it exploded on the spot. The impact from the explosion caused many of the weaker sky prides to be thrown hundreds of feet away, and all of them looked at the dojo in shock. Attack! Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others moved instantly. The few of them dashed towards the dojo, intending to snatch the sage's body. Just the few of you and you want to fight with me? Lei Ao snorted coldly, and with a flap of his black lightning wings, his figure turned into a flash of lightning, and he arrived in front of Nangong Huang and the others before throwing out a punch. Thunder rumbled, and the punch sent the few of them flying. Then, Lei Ao extended his hand to grab the sage's body. However, at this moment, several Taoist rhymes exploded, locking onto Lei Ao. The White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Guchanga, and Yuan Hong attacked Lei Ao almost simultaneously. Faced with the joint attack of these four top-notch sky prides, even Lei Ao had no choice but to temporarily stop and channel his spiritual power to fight with them. Heh, you guys know that you're no match for me in a one-on-one fight, so you've decided to gang up on me? Lei Ao flapped his black wings. Even though he was fighting against four of them, he was not at a disadvantage. I'll defeat you first, then we'll split the sage's body. Gu Changa said coldly, and then he unleashed his sage technique, the Dragon Slaughter Fist. Someone who was defeated by Chu Kuangren with a single sword attack. Do you really think you can fight with me? Lei Ao activated his black lightning and blasted his opponent back with a single move. The White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, and Yuan Hong each activated their ultimate techniques, and Nangong Huang, who was previously blasted back, also joined the battle with his sacred sword. Lei Ao instantly fought against 5 of them alone. In an instant, supreme techniques, sage techniques, Taoist physique transformations, and various other techniques were continuously unleashed by these sky prides. Chapter 61. On the sage's dojo, the sky prides were engaged in a chaotic battle. All sorts of terrifying and violent Taoist rhymes filled the area. D***. If this goes on, there will be no end to it. Lei Ao frowned as he pushed the White Lotus Maiden Sage back with a punch. Just as the others were about to continue, Lei Ao shouted, "Stop!" "Oh, even a young emperor is afraid?" Nangong Huang sneered. What a joke. I just think it's a waste of time if this goes on. How about this, each of us take a step back. I'll take the sage's head and leave the rest to you, Lei Ao said. The White Lotus Maiden Sage and the others looked at each other and seemed to be hesitating. Lei Ao said coldly, "This is already my biggest concession. If this goes on, you guys will benefit from resting." "All right, then it's settled. I want the heart." Gu Changa nodded. "I want the bones and part of the flesh. Other than the heart, the organs of the luminous moon sage will belong to the school of White Lotus," the White Lotus Bachelor Sage said calmly. Nangong Huang frowned. "That's a little too much. If you guys take everything, what will the Black Heaven sect get?" We're already being merciful by giving you part of the flesh. Are you trying to take advantage of us?" The White Lotus Bachelor Sage said. He seemed to be dissatisfied with the Black Heaven sect, and his tone was unfriendly. Seeing this, the others did not stop her. Gu Changa said directly, "This is our decision. Do you have any opinion?" "That's right. I've suddenly changed my mind. Other than the head, I want the flesh of the Black Heaven sect too," Lei Ao suddenly said, causing Nangong Huang's face to turn pale. Just now, they had teamed up against Lei Ao, but now, it was the other way around. Everyone had teamed up against the Black Heaven sect. How could Nangong Huang not know the reason? A bunch of lowly people. You don't dare to fight with my elder senior brother, so you want to bully us to regain some of your laughable dignity? What a joke! You guys are not even fit to carry my elder senior brother's shoes. The few of them seemed to have been seen through and their faces turned gloomy. How dare you! Lei Ao shouted and punched out. Violent thunderbolts surged out. Nangong Huang blocked with his sword, but he was still sent flying. Fine electric arcs jumped on his body, and he was seriously injured. Nangong Huang. Murong Xian hurriedly rushed forward. He was so angry that he was about to attack, but he was stopped by Nangong Huang. You're not his match. Don't go up, Nangong Huang said in a low voice. Damn it. Murong Xian and the others were so angry that the veins on their foreheads were bulging. However, they knew very well that nothing good would come out of it if they were to fight now. The sky prides from the other orthodoxies looked at Murong Xian and the others with mocking looks in their eyes. For the past few days, they had been crushed by Chu Kuangren so badly that they could barely breathe. Now they finally felt a little better. Heh, do you really think that everyone in the Black Heaven sect is Chu Kuangren? What a joke, the White Lotus Saint sneered. Beside him, the White Lotus Maiden Sage frowned. Bachelor Sage, your emotions are too obvious. Is there a grudge between you and the Black Heaven sect? No, I just can't stand it. If you don't like Chu Kuangren, you can go look for him. There's no point in humiliating his junior brother here. It will only show how weak you are. The White Lotus Maiden Sage said calmly. In the school of White Lotus, a Maiden Sage was a grade higher than a Bachelor Sage. There were many Bachelor Sages, but there could only be one Maiden Sage. Hence, when she reprimanded the White Lotus Bachelor Sage, the Bachelor Sage's face turned red, but he did not dare to talk back. All he did was hate Chu Kuangren even more. All right, now that the person in the way has been dealt with, I shall take this sage's head. Lei Ao took out a saber and walked towards the sage's body. The surrounding sky prides could not help but shake their heads and sigh. A sage is going to be dismembered after his death. How pitiful. Yeah, no matter how strong you were when you were alive, you're just a corpse after death, waiting to be slaughtered. The sage's body is a rare treasure for many cultivators. Those who are capable would definitely not miss it. Lei Ao held his saber and approached the sage's body step by step. A sinister smile appeared on his face. Senior Sage, please excuse me. Although he said that, he did not hesitate to attack. The saber slashed down at the speed of lightning. Just when the luminous Moon Sage's body was about to be damaged, a purple sword ray entered the battlefield at an even faster speed. The sword radiance reached Lei Ao's saber first, even though it was launched later. The saber shattered on the spot, and the terrifying impact sent Lei Ao flying. That sword ray, it's you. Lei Ao thought of something and immediately looked towards the source of the sword ray. The others were no exception, but they all had different expressions. Gu Chang'e, the White Lotus Bachelor Sage, and Lei Ao were extremely gloomy. The White Lotus Maiden Sage was a little curious, and Nangong Huang and the others were ecstatic. Elder senior brother. It was Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren was dressed in a white robe, his black hair reaching his waist, and his body was surrounded by Taoist rhymes. He was the one who had defeated Lei Ao. When they saw him, everyone's heart skipped a beat. Especially Lei Ao. He felt that his opponent's strength had become even stronger. You're really lucky to be able to walk out of that gray mist alive, Lei Ao said coldly. Chu Kuangren replied, even AB** starred like you didn't die, let alone me. This sage's body is mine for the Black Heaven sect. You want to monopolize it? Lei Ao said coldly. Yes. What a joke. Chu Kuangren, you're here. We might have a share, but you're too arrogant to think that you can monopolize it. Do you really think that all these sky prides here are just for show? The White Lotus Bachelor Sage took a step forward, and his aura instantly exploded. Yuan Hong and Gu Chang'e looked unfriendly too. Heh, didn't you guys say that I'm declaring war on the world? Then I'll fight you guys today. Chu Kuangren did not budge an inch. He was grateful that the luminous Moon Sage had killed the Black Light Sage together with him. He could not sit back and watch others destroy the luminous Moon Sage's body. Alright. Let me see how strong you are. The White Lotus bachelor sage was so angry that he laughed. The jealousy and hatred in his heart urged him to activate the spiritual power within his body. A strong Taoist rhyme emanated from his body, and then he struck out with his palm. A white light bloomed from his palm, and the white rainbow palm energy erupted. Chu Kuangren did not say a word. He simply struck out with his sword, and the purple sword ray whistled, instantly broke through the palm energy, and landed on the White Lotus bachelor sage's body. A scream was followed by a large amount of blood splattered. An arm was thrown high into the air. You can't even withstand a light attack from me, and you want to see my strength? What a joke, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. The White Lotus bachelor sage covered the wound on his broken arm and glared at Chu Kuangren. There was hatred in his eyes, but more than that, there was extreme fear. How could the gap between him and his opponent be so huge? He could not even withstand a single attack. The White Lotus maiden sage slowly walked up and looked at Chu Kuangren. Brother Chu, you're a little too harsh. He didn't hold back at all when he attacked, and I only broke one of his arms. Even I feel that I'm being too merciful. Why, does the White Lotus maiden sage want to give it a try? Chu Kuangren stared coldly at the White Lotus maiden sage. Chapter 62. The smile on the White Lotus maiden sage's face gradually disappeared as she stared at Chu Kuangren. We retreat. Maiden sage. The White Lotus bachelor sage was indignant. He had lost an arm to Chu Kuangren, but the White Lotus maiden sage was unfazed. She did nothing and even wanted to give up on her sage body. How could he accept that? Shut up. The White Lotus maiden sage scolded. Chu Kuangren was too powerful. Even a maiden sage like her could not change anything, so she might as well take the initiative and avoid unnecessary damage. A wise choice, Chu Kuangren said. Giving up without doing anything is not who I am. I have to give it a shot no matter what, Yuan Hong of the Dharma sect said. The few Dharma sect Taoists who came with him immediately made their moves. There were 4 of them in total. The 4 of them surrounded Chu Kuangren, each activating a technique. In an instant, 4 different Taoist rhymes filled the air. It was a powerful combined attack. The Dharma sect's 4 mystical arts. Some of the people who knew him were surprised. The Dharma sect claimed to have learned all kinds of techniques in the world. However, there were only a few that were most famous. The 4 mystical arts was one of them. When the 4 of them activated the 4 techniques of earth, wind, water, and fire together, they could unleash combat strength that far exceeded their cultivation level. It was quite famous in the firmament star. Earth. The earth word was cast, and a huge mountain appeared in the sky. Wind. A violent gust of wind swept across the sky. Water. The sound of rolling waves could be heard in the void. It was as if there was an ocean. Fire. A terrifying flame appeared out of nowhere and burned the sky. The 4 Dharma sect Taoists activated their techniques, and the 4 Taoist rhymes intertwined to form a terrifying force field that crushed towards Chu Kuangren. However, Chu Kuangren stood still with a calm expression. To him, that terrifying domineering aura was like a gentle breeze. Chu Kuangren, take this. No one has ever come out unscathed under the 4 mystical arts, and you're no exception. The 4 Taoists attacked, and the 4 Taoist rhymes of earth, wind, water, and fire formed 4 colorful torrents that exploded instantly. What a show-off! Chu Kuangren smiled calmly. He lightly stamped his foot on the ground. Terrifying sword chi poured out of his body like a tsunami. In the blink of an eye, the 4 symbols art was broken. Under the impact of the sword chi, the 4 Taoists of the Dharma sect flew backward like kites with broken strings. The Sky Prides were dumbfounded at the sight of this. They were not surprised that Chu Kuangren could break through the 4 mystical techniques, but he did it a little too easily. It was done with just a stomp of his feet? Are you kidding me? Since when did the Dharma sect's art of 4 symbols become so weak? Isn't this a sage art? Indeed, the 4 symbols as one is comparable to a great saint technique. It's not that the 4 mystical arts is weak, It's that Chu Kuangren is just too strong. The Dharma sect's Taoists are no match for him at all. There's no need to use any moves. Just the sword energy alone possesses an incomparably terrifying destructive power. Chu Kuangren is terrifying. Seeing that the 4 mystical arts had been broken, Yuanhong, who had been quiet all this while, suddenly erupted with a terrifying Taoist rhyme that had been brewing for a long time. Transcendent coalescence. Yuanhong roared, and the spiritual qi between the heavens and earth surged in an instant, turning into a gorgeous, colorful torrent. This torrent seemed to contain all kinds of cultivation techniques, and all kinds of Taoist rhymes were mixed within it. It was extremely powerful and shocking. At the side, Guchanga also made her move. "Brother Yuanhong, let me help you." With a punch, the domineering Taoist rhyme formed a golden dragon shadow. The dragon roared and dove towards Chu Kuangren. The transcendent coalescence and the dragon slaughter fist were both sage techniques that were specifically used for attacking. They were extremely mysterious, and when they were used by 2 top-notch sky prides, their power made everyone at the scene solemn. Even Lei Ao had a hint of caution on his face. Human mountain stamp. Chu Kuangren stood still and raised his hand to gather a majestic amount of earth qi, forming a terrifying godly mountain that blasted out. The 3 huge forces collided with each other and exploded in the void, forming a colorful shockwave that was incomparably gorgeous. However, the terrifying impact that it contained caused Yuanhong and Guchanga to spit out blood and fall to the ground. Chu Kuangren's white robe fluttered in the wind. He looked at the gorgeous colors around him and said, "It's like fireworks." Yuanhong and Guchanga almost vomited blood when they heard him. Like fireworks? Not only did their full-powered attack not hurt Chu Kuangren, but he even called it fireworks. That was just too infuriating. Even Nangong Huang and the others behind Chu Kuangren could not help but twitch their mouths. Their elder senior brother's words were too much of a blow to them. Chu Kuangren was a sky pride after all, yet he did not give him any face at all. However, this feeling, it felt so good. Seeing the other sky prides being tortured by Chu Kuangren, Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others only felt proud and carefree. Chu Kuangren. Guchanga stared at Chu Kuangren, his eyes filled with unwillingness. Ever since he was defeated by Chu Kuangren in the Black Heaven sect, he had spent time recuperating and recovering his Taoist core. He had also devoted himself to cultivation, and with the help of various treasures, he had finally broken through to the Paradise realm. He initially thought that he could catch up to Chu Kuangren's cultivation base. However, he did not expect the gap to be even wider. Last time, he was defeated by Chu Kuangren with a single sword attack. This time, he was defeated by another sky pride of the same level. Beside him, Yuanhong's face was also filled with bitterness. Encountering such a thing, anyone would feel as if their soul had left their body. How could this be? This is an era of great battles. We should be surrounded by stars, but why is he so much stronger than us? The White Lotus Bachelor Sage could not accept it. Chu Kuangren glanced at him and said, "You're not wrong. This is indeed an era of great battles. It's just that all of you are competing with me." Many sky prides at the scene trembled in shock. On the other hand, Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others were filled with admiration and fanaticism. He had single-handedly declared war against all the sky prides in the world. He had single-handedly fought against the entire world. Lei Ao, who was beside him, was also stunned. "Damn it, do you have to be so arrogant? Even I, a young emperor, am not as arrogant as you are." However, before Lei Ao could react, Chu Kuangren's gaze locked onto him. "Be *starred, you're the one who hurt my junior brother, aren't you?" He had noticed Nangong Huang's injury. Among all the sky prides present, only Lei Ao could produce that kind of domineering lightning-based Taoist rhyme. "Do you want revenge?" Lei Ao said coldly. His gaze was extremely serious, and there were electric arcs leaping around his body. He was very cautious. "Yes, and I'm going to kill you." Chu Kuangren moved. With a swing of the Descendant Self-Sword, a domineering sword ray whizzed out. Lei Ao had no choice but to face it with all his might. The black lightning wings flapped, and the black water falling thunder instantly erupted. The sword ray and the thunder collided. Then, everyone saw a figure fly out and crash into the mountain wall in the distance, continuously spitting blood. That miserable figure was the young Emperor Lei Ao. Chapter 63. Do you think you're worthy of being called a young emperor? Chu Kuangren said. His tone was calm and emotionless, but his words were filled with mockery towards Lei Ao. Lei Ao was extremely frustrated and his eyes were bloodshot. He was a young emperor. When had he ever suffered such humiliation? Chu Kuangren, I'm going to kill you. Lei Ao let out an angry roar. Black lightning erupted from his body and he charged towards Chu Kuangren. He was extremely fast, like a bolt of lightning. At least that was how it looked to others. Even Chu Kuangren felt that his opponent was fast before, but now it was just SOSO in his eyes. He had leveled up too much. With the Supreme Purple Palace Realm Foundation, coupled with the 3 great foundation levels and the exquisite 9 orifices sword heart, he had surpassed his peers in the same realm. Just as Lei Ao was charging towards him, Chu Kuangren had already locked onto his opponent's trajectory. Majestic earth chi surged and turned into a godly mountain that smashed towards him. Lei Ao was once again pushed back. What a terrifying attack. I can't take it head-on. Lei Ao was shocked. He slowly calmed himself down and was no longer in a hurry to attack. Black lightning flickered around his body as his silhouette constantly changed. Chu Kuangren, see, can you catch up to me? Not only does my lightning give me a powerful attack, but it also gives me unparalleled speed. Speed is the only unbeatable technique in this world. You have nothing to be afraid of even if you can't hit me. Lei Ao's proud voice echoed in the void. Gu Chang'e, the White Lotus Maiden Sage, and the others were shocked. Even my spiritual thoughts can't catch up to this speed. So fast. Lei Ao's silhouette moved quickly as he aimed for an opening. With a glint in his eyes, he sped up and dashed towards Chu Kuangren's back. He struck out with his palm and violent lightning gathered. However, at that moment, a sword landed on his face and sent him flying. After spinning around a dozen times in the air, he fell to the ground like a dead dog. Jumping up and down, aren't you proud of yourself? Chu Kuangren looked at Lei Ao, who was on the ground as if he was looking down on an ant. No one knew how angry Lei Ao was at that moment. 3 times. He was sent flying by Chu Kuangren 3 times. Furthermore, he had done it in front of everyone. His authority as a young emperor was practically non-existent. In front of the other sky prides, he was a young emperor. However, in front of Chu Kuangren, he was nothing. Lei Ao laid on the ground, his body twitching non-stop. The black lightning on the surface of his body gradually turned blood red, and an even more domineering Taoist rhyme emanated. Chu Kuangren, you are the first prodigy to force me to use this method. Only by killing you can I wash away this humiliation. Lei Ao slowly stood up. Blood-colored lightning surrounded him, and even his hair turned red. His terrifying aura even forced Gu Chang'e and the other heaven's favorites to retreat. The current Lei Ao's battle power was close to that of a venerable Dao body phenomenon, unstoppable thunder. Heaven-shattering blood lightning. Dark clouds covered the sky and thunder rumbled. Lei Ao activated his blood-colored lightning and with the help of his Taoist physique transformation, he charged towards Chu Kuangren with such power that it distorted the void. Heaven-rending drawing technique. Chu Kuangren swung his sword and a dazzling purple sword ray shone. The sword light blotted out the sky and almost swallowed the world. It also engulfed the blood-colored lightning. The terrifying sword attack caused Lei Ao to let out a blood-curdling scream as he reverted back to his original form of a thunder hawk. The sword chi raged and streaks of blood appeared on Lei Ao's body. A large amount of blood splattered like a rain of blood. Lei Ao no longer had any thoughts of resisting. With a flap of his wings, a large amount of lightning exploded. He used a certain treasure to forcefully shatter the sword ray before he frantically fled into the distance. His speed was already extremely fast, and with the addition of the treasure, Lei Ao's speed was so fast that even an honorable might not be able to catch up to him. Trying to escape? You'll have to ask for my permission first. 9 Heaven Sword Prison. With a soft shout, 12 long pillars formed by sword chi appeared between heaven and earth. There were runes circling around them, sealing the sky and locking the earth. Under this Taoist physique transformation, Lei Ao's body suddenly felt a strong constraint as if he was tied up by countless shackles. Not only that, but the spatial structure also seemed to have changed. How can this be? How can his physique be so strong? No, this physique transformation has spatial energy. Lei Ao said in horror. The most obvious characteristic of the Paradise Realm was the initial contact with spatial energy. However, using spatial energy required a long period of practice. Chu Kuangren had just ascended to the Paradise Realm, so how could he use spatial energy and integrate it into his Taoist physique transformation? This is the difference between you and me, Chu Kuangren said calmly. With the help of the godly essence, he had stepped into the Paradise Realm and entered the state of Tao enlightenment. In addition to that, he had also entered the state of Tao enlightenment before and absorbed the primordial purple haze. His understanding of Tao was too deep. This also included the cultivation secrets of each realm. Since he had stepped into the Paradise Realm, spatial energy was already at his fingertips. Integrating it into his physique transformation was a piece of cake. Chu Kuangren, what are you trying to do? If you dare to kill me, the Thunder Falcon tribe will never forgive you. Lei Ao threatened. Let them come then. Chu Kuangren waved his sacred sword and the heaven-slaying sword drawing technique appeared again. This time, there were no surprises. Lei Ao was instantly minced into a bloody mist by the sword chi. The current young emperor had fallen. The White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Yuan Hong, and the others watched the scene with their hearts trembling. They stared at the white-robed figure with their hearts trembling. The 8 young emperors of this world were the pinnacle of sky prides. Countless people had tried to topple them, but to no avail. Today, a young emperor had fallen in front of them. Chu Kuangren, Chu Kuangren. Many people murmured that name in a daze. They knew that from that day onward, that name would be the peak that countless sky prides could only dream of. Chu Kuangren slowly walked to the dojo and placed the luminous moon sage's body into his yin and yang ring. No one dared to object. Because no one had the right to object. Let's go, Chu Kuangren said. The people of Black Heaven sect left. Coincidentally, just as Chu Kuangren and the others left, Fang Tian, Lin Badian, and a few other sky prides who were trapped in the gray mist also arrived at the dojo. Bachelor Sage, and what happened to you guys? Fang Tian was shocked to see the White Lotus Bachelor Sage with a broken arm and the severely injured Guchanga and Yuan Hong. It's all because of you, Chu Kuangren. The White Lotus Bachelor Sage said viciously. Fang Tian and Lin Badian looked at each other with an as-expected expression. Besides Chu Kuangren, who else could single-handedly injure those top-notch sky prides? I say, why did you guys go and provoke him for no reason? That guy can even kill a sage. Fang Tian said. What? The people who were about to leave were shocked and quickly surrounded them. Their eyes were filled with horror. Just now, the red rain and the mournful cries were indeed the signs of a fallen sage, but did Chu Kuangren kill that sage? Quick, tell us now. Fang Tian and Lin Badian immediately recounted what they had seen and heard in the gray mist. Everyone who heard it felt absurd. Killing a sage? They saw sages as gods, high and mighty. However, Chu Kuangren had already slain a sage. You're tuning in to the Wandering Hero YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.